There we go. That was weird. Okay. Hey, welcome or welcome back. It is as always good to see you today. It is very early. I'm streaming before I start work because Zach has pissed me off. Um, yeah. So we're gonna get into this pretty quickly. Because I need to start working. But Mondays are my busy day with D&D in the evening, so we're doing this now. Am I jet lagged? Yes, I am. I was very tired all day yesterday. I don't think my intro song worked. That's fine. Um, but I am going to. Sorry, turn my microphone up. Sorry, my bad. I don't know why my microphone was being weird. Um, Sorry, I'm also not speaking very loudly. Sorry, y'all. I didn't turn my mic up. Sorry. All right, so I am going to be watching Zach's video because he's pissed me off. And I'm not going to be listening. I'm not going to be watching the chat very much. I'm going to be focused on Zach and what he is saying so I can counter whatever bullshit he's going to be spouting about Nikki. So if you need to get my attention, at me in the chat, I'll have it open here in my creator studio so I can see anything you all say if you need to get my attention. Um, so there we go. All right, I'm probably not going to be watching chat very much. I apologize. I'm going to be focusing on Zach. And yeah, so my my disclaimer at the beginning here, Nikki is my friend. So I will be defending her. I care about Nikki very, very much. Hey, Nikki, I love you. Yeah, I will defend you because you're my friend and I care about you. And I don't like people spreading misinformation and lies about people that I care about. I will defend you until the end of the earth, my love. So, yeah. So, it pisses me off. People spread shit about people that I care about, whether it's Ilya, whether it's Nikki, whether it's anybody in my personal life. I will go to bat for you. So, yeah, so that is my disclaimer that this is not going to be without bias because Nikki is my friend. We talk frequently. And so, yes, there will be some bias in this. So, but I'm going to go ahead and get into it here. And we're going to see what Zach has to say, see what kind of evidence he has here. I have about 2 hours before I need to start work. I haven't taken my other laptop out of my backpack yet. I need to do that. So, yeah. Sorry, it's been a while. Here we go, get the right button clicked. Get my camera adjusted a little bit. Why is there that giant green spot? Sorry, y'all. I thought I had this ready, but it decided to be a little bitch. Here we go. All right. Once again, if you need to get my attention in the chat, just at me. I should see it out of the corner of my eye over here. So we're gonna see what Zach has to say. So yeah, here's my first thought on this. Is Zach has what 150,000 some plus channel. Nikki has like 3K. Right? It's Roz always talks about people punching down on her. Zach's punching down here, right? You're shy. Nikki, you're not shy. Come on now. You don't want to roll in and argue with Zach and Roz mods. Well, Roz's mods don't know shit. Even though a lot of Roz's mods have been in our video chats, like at least watching because they've been gifted memberships. So, Roz, maybe you need to know that some of your people have been watching us and all that jazz. So, all right, we're going to get into this.
And welcome back to our channel.
Who is that they, them on my screen?
Hi, hello everybody. I am making this video to do a little bit of follow-up on my last video where
Hold on here, let me see. Are you guys able to hear?
Rosie posted some tweets about
Okay. You guys can hear. Yeah. I'll definitely let you know, Nikki. I'm gonna turn on closed captioning, sorry. So I have not watched any of Zach's videos recently, so I don't know what he said about these tweets that Roz published, which show nothing, but I'm sure he's going to show them again.
a YouTube content creator named Nikki T and another man named Cam Neon who has harassed her in the past and things like that. And I had some stuff to say in that video. I want to follow up on a lot of those things and things that people said. So just a few prefaces before we get started. One, I have a long outline of things that I want to say about this. You are going to see me look off to the side. I have ADHD for one, and so like it helps me stay on track, but two, especially when I'm talking about things that are more serious, require lots of nuance and things like that, like I just need to make sure.
Sorry, I just want to say really quick, Geeky Banana. A lot of us prefer our chats to be 18 plus, but we don't restrict our videos because it hurts it in the algorithm. We just don't expect people 18 and younger to be in our chats, and if we find them, we remove them. So that's why, at least why a lot of us don't mark our videos all as 18 plus. Now, if I get into my video and there's a lot of shit that shouldn't be, then I will after the fact mark my video as less than 8 as 18 plus. Wow, words. Oh, look at Poe back here yawning. Oh, look at that cute puppy. All right.
That I say all the things that I want to say and make sure that I'm making all the points that I want to make. And so, yeah, I'm going to be reading from things that I already typed out in advance. They are all still my own thoughts, all still my own words. I just am simply not saying them all off the cuff because I just don't have that skill. I am frequently over here reacting to things in real time where I am able to respond to things off the top of my head in the sense that I don't want to mess anything up or say the wrong thing or forget to say something. I am reading from an outline script situation type of deal. Another thing I want to say is that just because this video is going to be one that is critical of somebody who covers Rosie, that this does not serve as a defense of Rosie's bad behavior, nor should Rosie or anybody else take this as a defense of Rosie and her bad behavior from the.
Well, that's a fine and dandy disclaimer, but you know that Roz is going to take it that way. She's going to be like, look, Nikki's bad too, so therefore anything Nikki has to say about me is invalid. All right? Yeah, there are bad people out there doing reactions. There are several. Hey, Mars, Nikki is not one of them. So I don't know why Zach is feeling the need to make this video, to be honest. We'll see.
Past. I know sometimes people don't like to live in the gray area over in this corner of the internet. Sometimes people don't love the concept.
So I will say, yeah, I will defend Roz if it's needed, just like I did with Amberlynn. If somebody says something out of pocket or is, you know, I would say inappropriate or does something, I will defend Roz like I did whenever it came to sharing things about Remy before she had shared things about Remy or following her taking the photos. I said I thought that was wrong. So if I thought Nikki was doing something bad, I would talk to Nikki first to, quite frankly. Um, but this is weird to me.
Of nuance. In fact, I think people were upset that I taught Amberlynn the word nuance. But there are so many things that can be
I don't know if it was Zach that taught her that or if it was me. Because she started using the word nuance a lot after I used it in one of my videos, and we know that Amberlynn watched me for a long time.
true at once, which includes being critical of other people making content about Rosie and also still standing by the fact that Rosie ain't shit. And I mostly am saying this because I know that there will be people who perceive this as me defending Rosie and or even Rosie herself. In the past, when I made a video about Cam Neon and called him out for his weirdo behavior, she was very quick, very quick to start sharing my video on social media, despite the fact that she had me blocked and like said that she never watched my content. And I also want to say that I'm sharing my thoughts on Nikki and Cam and where I've come since people have provided feedback about them. I'm sharing those.
So you're saying these things about Nikki and Cam. There is no Nikki and Cam right now. Cam burnt that bridge. Nikki has distanced herself. So anything that he's bringing up is going to be from at least 7 months ago.
Those thoughts regardless of what the outcome of people who watch me feel. That's not to say I don't care about how people feel, but that's to say that like I always come on this channel and share my thoughts about things as they are, and I understand that there's a lot of people who probably really like Nikki's content, and might feel some type of way that I'm critiquing her content.
I do feel some type of way about it because you're going to be spreading misinformation.
Content and providing pushback or feedback for the way that she's conducting herself on the internet.
How is she conducting herself on the internet, Zach? Have you watched her videos? Have you spoken to Nikki? You have said that you don't watch other creators, so any information that you're getting about Nikki is coming secondhand. You don't know how Nikki conducts herself. Now, you have watched a couple of videos that Nikki has uploaded. You're sure fine with that. Like whenever she uploaded the video about how Roz was reacting to finding out that you that you were covering her, you sure were fine using that content, weren't you? Right, nobody reached out to Nikki. So here's the thing. When I questioned back in December some of these things, I went to Nikki's post and I asked her directly some questions and she responded. And the rest is history. We're friends. Right? We support each other. And I think she's a wonderful person. Zach could just as easily either message her either on Twitter or comment on one of her videos and be like, hey, Nikki, I just want to clear up a few things before I'm making this video. But did he know? Because he relies on other people to give him information, and it's going to be wrong a lot of the times. He doesn't vet the information. His shirt says I'm gay, not stupid. However, at the moment, I'm going to be questioning that.
Ultimately, I'm just sharing my opinion.
Nikki, you do whatever you need to do, love. Please make sure you eat. Give Cruz the biggest head scritches and smooches from me. And if you wouldn't mind sending me a picture of Cruz, I wouldn't argue with that because I love that kitty so much. I love Millie too, but you know I'm a cat person. Green flag-o-meter. You're sharing your opinion, but your opinion is misinformed, Zach.
On this situation, and I think it's up to you to decide what you do with my opinion and or the information that I'm sharing in this video. And I welcome you to continue watching my channel even if you disagree with me about this one point. In fact, I'm sure there's many times where people...
I'm going to speed him up a little bit, I'm sorry, because I do need to work today as well. If I start late, I start late. I don't think I have any meetings this morning.
People have disagreed with me in the past, and I'm grateful for all of you who continue watching, even if we don't have the same exact opinion or take on things. So, like I said, in my last video, we discussed some tweets regarding Nikki and Cam that Rosie.
All right, hold on. Okay, so I have seen these. If you haven't seen these, I'm going to read these to you really quickly. If Zach does read them to you, then that's fine, but I don't think he's going to. So the first one here says, Nikki T is the same monster as Camnian. Is it Camnian? Camnian? I don't know. Cam. Just Cam. I'm grateful to have proof of what I have known all along. She was a part, need to have a space in there, of the harassment of me and my brother. Encouraged it, just like when Cam tried to incite, wrong spelling, me to unalive myself. Hashtag quirky love Rosie. Hashtag Gora World timestamps don't lie. Why'd you hashtag yourself, bitch? And then she shared a couple of screenshots here from a Discord that people shared. This is why I always say, don't share anything in my Discord that you wouldn't mind having shared publicly because you don't know who's there. Right? But this here, Cam had said in this Discord, Nyan cat. Yeah, Nyan. That's what I thought. Nyan. Dasher en route to Levi. Just slow cook the bong with oil. Oil Dasher is 4 minutes away. Tune in, y'all. So he sent this during one of Rosie's live streams. And then the timestamps. That was at like 6:20. And then he's Nikki says somebody said I'm crying. He says, "Welp." Nikki says, "Lord," and he says, "I hope Levi enjoys." Nikki says, "I can't believe she had a Dasher at her door and didn't think to mute. Genuinely, you were just sending a birthday gift for Levi." So but basically, Roz doxed herself. She went to the door with her phone, still streaming, and doxed herself at the door. So then Rosie continues on her Twitter here. She platformed him and only cut it off when it affected her bottom line. She rebranded and cleaned up her act when she got monetized. She's a monster. She's just as obsessed with me as Cam is. She's just more intelligent than that sack of rocks she called her E-Love or whatever. She's just as much of a creep and greatly benefits from Cam9 YouTube termination because there is no longer evidence of her hateful, violent language toward me back then. This shit is deranged. Absolutely fucking insane. So let's talk about that real quick. Nikki never went IRL. Nikki did platform Cam after Cam got got removed from YouTube. But if you watch Nikki's streams, that's when I started watching Nikki, was like in November of last year. October, November. And I would get irritated watching her streams, and I would have to turn it off. I love Nikki very, very much. But she would constantly be yelling at Cam to stop and be like, "You can't say that. Stop it." Nikki didn't get monetized until this year. So, no, it wasn't affecting her, quote, bottom line, Rosie, because she wasn't monetized in December. So, you're wrong on that. And even before that, she'd be like, "Cam, stop. Cam, knock it off," during her live streams. And she even had to, like, quit one of her streams at one point because Cam wouldn't stop being a dick. So she would constantly try to reel him in during her streams. And then she continues, context, Cam9 is a cyber-stalking Looney Tune, and Nikki T is/was, I don't care about the relationship status, his accomplice. These screenshots are from the day he went IRL for the first time, my brother's B-Day. They only stopped associating because of what he did December 2025. Again, on my brother's birthday, he weaponing, I think she means weaponized, my grapist while I was live, and allegedly Nikki didn't know. I call complete bullshit to BH, but again, I don't care to follow up with anything to do with these people. Just leave me the fuck alone, quirky, creepy crew. There's no quirky, oh my god, there's no quirky, creepy crew, Roz. You're delusional. You're not being gang stalked. Nikki did not know that Cam sent that. When you opened the email and talked about that stuff, Nikki thought you were lying. You are just wrong. Nikki didn't know Cam was doing that. Cam continues to use we, and people think he means Nikki, and Nikki isn't associating with him. Did Nikki used to do a lot of research, and Cam used that research? Yes. A lot of people use Nikki's research because she posts it publicly on her channel. A lot of people go to Nikki for backlogs and archived information on Roz. And I think any of you that are, you know, taking Zach's opinion as gospel and believing this shit, don't go to Nikki for any information. Stop using Nikki's videos.
He had made. If you want to go back for the full context of that, I cover it in about the first 20 minutes of my last video. But in that video, I talked about what I knew or what I thought I knew about
Respectfully, you don't know shit, Zach.
Nikki and or her relationship with Cam, and I also...
Here's the thing. I've mentioned this before on the Quirky Love Rosie subreddit. Somebody was talking about, well, Zach said that Nikki and Cam were dating and in a relationship. I got downvoted to hell and back when I commented and said, you know, Zach isn't the end all be all. He doesn't know anything. Or he doesn't know everything. Zach can be wrong. They were never in a relationship. And I got downvoted to hell and back for saying that Zach doesn't know everything and he was wrong. People look to Zach as some sort of moral compass, thinking that he knows everything about everything, and he doesn't. He doesn't know shit about Nikki. Or Cam. I'm not going to be defending Cam unless it comes up, but yeah.
Also offered for folks to provide me any information in case I didn't have the full story.
Why don't you find information yourself? Why don't you reach out to Nikki yourself? Why don't you just be like, hey, Nikki, I have some questions for you. Can you clear this up for me? Nikki commented on my video that I did about this whole situation with Levi's birthday last December. Nikki commented on my video giving some more information. Those comments are gone. I can't see them anymore. Nobody can. Nikki can't even see them. However, Rosie also commented on my video. Now, I don't have any proof of this. This is pure speculation. But I suspect that I suspect that Rosie or somebody reported Nikki's comments as like misinformation or something, because her comments clarifying some things are gone from that video. So that's how far Rosie will go, in my opinion, speculation, to silence people like Nikki that have shit on her, that know that have information. Now here's another thing real quick here. All this shit that she was just talking about. Yeah, Zach does use they, them. He also uses he, him. He uses both, right? I will try to remember to use they, them, though. Shower, Nikki, shower. So, yeah, you don't have the full story, Zach.
in the spirit.
So just real quick with the all caps, I've mentioned this before, I'm going to say it again. Some people have processing issues when it comes to all caps messages. So I implemented stream elements to remind people to not be using all caps constantly. You can capitalize a few words here and there, of course, but if you're going to be sending multiple messages with all caps repeatedly, some people have issues trying to process and read those kinds of messages. What does that mean, Nikki? Libby is the most lesbian I've ever met, by the way. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Gay. What's that supposed to mean, Nikki? I am gay. Love you too, Nikki. You weirdo. People are gonna say you're homophobic now. Love you, Nikki. It breaks my little lesbian heart that you don't date women. It breaks my heart. Go take your shower and eat your weird Vegemite toast. Gay of. Oh, that I'm not judging them or trying to misgender them. Yeah, no. No, I try really hard to not misgender people. But Zach does on his Twitter and everything does say that he goes by they, them, and he, him. You know, wash your nasty butthole, Nikki. Gay as fuck. I am gay as fuck. You can order Vegemite, Sammy. Nikki has offered to do tutorials on how to eat Vegemite properly.
Of learning, growing, and or changing our opinions when we get new information, I'm making this video. So today I'm going to go through some of the feedback I received regarding Nikki and what I've done in terms of like my own follow-up to get a better idea of what Nikki is up to on the internet.
But have you, Zach? You haven't reached out to Nikki. You're once again just going through other people. You're hearing things second and third hand. You've not reached out to Nikki herself.
Our opinions when we get new information, I'm making this video. So today I'm going to go through some of the feedback I received regarding Nikki and what I've done in terms of like my own follow-up to get a better idea of what Nikki is up to on the internet. I have a long history historically of people.
A long history historically. Why, yes, Zach, that would be what that means.
Wanting me to like gatekeep or be some kind of gatekeeper for this corner of the internet, and I use gatekeep for lack of a better word. And in some cases, I absolutely have spoken up about what some creators have done. For example, all of FFG's interacting with Foodie Beauty in real life, more specifically in recent history, FFG exposing herself and that BBJ has been dead for several years while she continued to collect money in BBJ's name. You might also remember me covering Rachel when Rachel went as far as to offer Emily money for tea regarding Amberlynn Reid. And that's mostly been when I felt like these content creators have gone so far to be a part of the narrative that it's impossible to not include them in the conversation or talk about them on my channel. And then there's some other situations.
So, but Nikki hasn't inserted herself. Nikki has never gone IRL with Roz. Nikki has never inserted herself into Roz's life. Nikki very outspokenly on her channel will tell people, don't go IRL, do not go into her chat, do not message her, do not do these things. Nikki is not Cam. I said this on Twitter as well. I couldn't think of the application. I don't use Twitter very much, but I have been on Twitter defending Nikki occasionally. I occasionally I will not go on to Reddit to defend Nikki anymore because she has asked me not to. But on Twitter I will sometimes say some things if people talk shit.
Where people have asked me to cover a lot of random different.
So I will say though real quick, yeah, people do look to Zach as this like arbiter of morality in Girl World, and that's perfectly fine. Zach is a decent human being, right? But I think with this situation, he should have done his own research. He should have looked into things more. He should have reached out to Nikki personally to try to get information. YouTube is Zach's job full time. He has the time to do this, right? A lot of us have jobs outside of YouTube. Zach has the time to research these things and find these things and not just rely on a couple of random people from his chat trying to feed him information.
Creators, big and small, in this corner of the internet, and respectfully, I just don't always have the time, energy, or interest to keep up with every.
So what do we say? What is it we always said about Amberlynn? What else do you do with your time? This is your job. What else do you do with your time? Same thing with Rosie. We say the same shit about Rosie. We can also apply that to content creators on the reaction side as well, Zach. You don't have the time or energy or interest to keep up. Zach is in his own little world, right? I used to be in my own little world too. Just me and Ilya over here hanging out. I've gotten to know a lot of other creators. And we all support each other. We're all very small channels, but we support each other and we share information, right? Zach doesn't watch any other content creators unless it's something that he needs for his own video, and then he'll watch Nikki's content. He is friends with Charlie Gold, I will say that. But, you know, I mean, unless you're too busy playing gay volleyball, Zach.
Every single Girl World related channel that exists out there, because there's
a lot of fucking channels. We aren't saying that you need to keep up with all of them, but if you're going to be making a video about Nikki, you should at least try to educate yourself on Nikki and what she has said, because she's all over Twitter. Nikki is all up in Twitter's fupa.
a lot, just so you know, in case you're not aware, there are a ton of channels that cover similar content to me. To that extent, I do want to say that I think it makes sense that some folks would like me to be more informed about Nikki's behavior.
What do you mean more informed about Nikki's behavior? What has Nikki done, Zach? I think you need to look at who is giving you this information. And then you need to vet the information. All right. Something that I always try to do is if somebody sends me information, I then try to seek it out myself to make sure it's accurate, right? We are not perfect people. And oftentimes, if somebody's trying to give us information, they have a motive behind it sometimes, right? Even just for example, here's an example. In Ilya's Discord the other day, Life of a Free Spirit was live. Somebody came into the Discord that was watching her video and said, "Oh, Callie said you know Callie blah blah blah," and I commented, "Did she actually say this, or is this your interpretation of something else?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, she never said that." I'm like, "Well, let's not spread information, right?" So that's just an example. Who's Ilya? Ilya is a dude. Tree boy Ilya. He's my friend too. Let me give you Ilya's channel here if any of you all want to go subscribe to Ilya. He is a wonderful person. I adore him. And he's also my friend. So that's an example of somebody coming in and telling a creator, oh, this and this. It's like, well, is that actually accurate? Because people are going to interpret things that may not be completely accurate. So as a creator, it is up to us to vet that information and make sure it's accurate or that it's coming from a reputable source. Zach doesn't seem to have done that. So I am just going to say once again, because more people have come in, I am not going to be looking at the chat very much. So I'm going to be trying to focus on Zach. So if you need to get my attention, tag me. Clever nickname girl, not the Cam stuff. Is she going to address ZM now like Libby is? Who? Are you asking if Nikki is going to address Zach? No, she's not. Or is she talking to, or are you asking about Roz? Because Roz, who the fuck knows? Roz will say anything. But no, Nikki is not going to be, Nikki's not going to be addressing this. Nikki is above this. I am not. Because I adore Nikki, and people aren't going to be talking shit about her on my watch. No, she's not clever nickname girl. She's not.
Relationship to Cam, and some folks would like me to be more informed about Nikki's behavior in relationship to Cam and Rosie and other folks on the internet who might be up to no good. So I do just
Oh, fuck off, Zach. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was rude. People who might be up to no good. We need the Marauder map. Who among us, right? People have relationships with people. We have friends in our lifetime. If we find out that one of our friends is doing some bad shit, we either try to help them, like not do that, or we move on from that person. This is that situation with Nikki and Cam. There is no Nikki and Cam anymore, right? They aren't working together. Nikki is not associated with Cam. What is in the past is in the past. I will say really quick, just in case nothing comes up later where I can make this point, I just want to say something really quick about the relationship between Nikki and Cam. They were friends for years, for at least a couple of years. They were close friends, right? Put yourself in Nikki's shoes. You are friends with somebody. You're close to that person. You care about that person. Your friend just happens to be a content creator online making content about somebody. You see that person struggling with their mental health, and you want to be there for them and be their friend. If I were Nikki, I would have a really hard time abandoning my friend if I knew that a lot of what was happening and a lot of what was going on was due to mental health struggles. I would have a really hard time just telling them, fuck off, you're a bad person. right? I don't care who that would be in my life. If my best friend of over 30 fucking years had a mental break, I mean, granted, 30 years different from 2 years, and we're in real life friends, I would have a really hard time abandoning them, right? There are people in fucking prison that have people on the outside that still care about them and try to support them and help them, right? Should Cam have gone IRL? No, he shouldn't have. It's not like he murdered someone or kicked a puppy. He sent some alcohol to Roz's house for Levi. He shouldn't have done that. Absolutely. He should not be doing that shit. He should not have sent an email mentioning Roz's alleged essayer's name. You know, it's at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, you shouldn't be doing this shit. Is he stalking her? I don't think he's stalking her. I think there was another group of people doing this shit and tried to blame it on Cam. Now, there is a police report that's been released where Roz did say that the person reaches out to her after sending these things. I want to see proof of that. But at the end of the day, it's online bullshit, is all this is. It's online bullshit. And even if Nikki were to be in contact with Cam, it's because he was her friend and she's concerned about his mental health, right? What Nikki does offline is none of our business. And people trying to throw her under the bus for Cam's actions, it's not right. Nikki has shown us who she is. She's apologized. She said, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm going to do better. And she has. How is it affecting Levi, Ella? Nobody's done anything to Levi. Nobody's messed with Levi. People like Levi. Now, people shouldn't be doing this shit online. People should not be sending things to Roz's house. 100%. Do not do that shit. Don't be calling police on her house. Don't be calling in reports. Don't do that. Don't be doxing her boyfriend and her boyfriend's family. They have nothing to do with her. That is completely uncalled for. But at the end of the day, Cam sent an email naming a dude that she also interacted with recently online within the last couple of years, and then claimed a mental health breakdown. I don't think it really affected Levi. Levi's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. He's pretty chill about this stuff from what we've seen. But I don't believe Cam. I'm talking about Cam specifically with like making videos and online things. I don't believe Cam is the one sending the unpaid food orders. I believe that's a different group of people, and they need to stop. Right. I'm talking about the online stuff that's happening, not sending things to people's houses.
I just want to say currently where my boundaries stand in terms of discussing other reaction channels, it really comes down to the level that they either personally involve themselves in the lives of the people I cover, or the amount to which the people I cover bring them up. And I think in this case, Nikki and Cam are both people that have been brought up by Rosie and also are potentially interfering with Rosie's life in ways that, for me,
Nikki is not, and as far as we know, Cam's not right now.
me personally not something I want to do. So first and foremost, let's start with what I said in my last video about Nikki T having demonstrated changed behavior. I just want to be clear, when I say that she had demonstrated changed behavior, I was specifically talking about her involving Cam on her channel. Because if you don't know, prior to Cam emailing Rosie about her alleged sexual assaulter, Cam was featured regularly, to the extent that, like, I think a lot of the stuff with the email and stuff happened at the end of December, like the 19th, 20th, 21st, somewhere in there. The actual last time that I could
So Geeky Banana, it depends on the restaurant. On DoorDash, restaurants can say that they will do cash on delivery orders. So that's your area, Geeky Banana. Other areas are different, and there is a policy on DoorDash. I've shown it before, where restaurants can opt in for cash on delivery. I think a lot of it is probably going to be pizza places or things like that. But yeah, people should not be sending her unpaid orders. Um, I think I think it's a different group of people. I think this sounds more like Kiwi Farm people, honestly. So again, so Jennifer, I covered this. I mentioned this before, Jennifer. I will defend Roz on this. I don't think it should be her responsibility to have to call restaurants to tell them don't accept cash orders for this address. Because for one, are they actually going to check that shit regularly? And two, why should she have to call every single fucking restaurant in the area that she lives in? She lives in North Tampa. Right? I don't know. I don't think we should put that responsibility on Roz to have to call every single fucking restaurant. They're using different ones probably each time. Right? It's in that example, I will say you're putting the responsibility onto a victim of something to get something to stop. Now, could she do it? She could, and that would put it into it for some restaurants probably. But I will say that that's a lot of responsibility to put onto someone to be like, "Well, just call the restaurants." There's a lot of fucking restaurants. So, people could just not be dicks. Right? Yeah, Foodie called restaurants when I accept cash orders. Good for Foodie to do that. You know, um, right. Well, Mel's, even if there are only a few, then that's putting it on to Roz to try to figure out which restaurants do that. Right? I mean, what she could do is if somebody does call, she did say like in November or something when somebody did this that she was going to call the restaurant. And I think she called them after. But I don't think she is going to know. She's not going to know ahead of time which restaurants accept that until it happens. And then she could call and say, right?
fine. 19th. A lot of the stuff with the email and stuff happened at the end of December, like the 19th, 20th, 21st, somewhere in there. The actual last time that I could find on Nikki's channel that Cam had participated was like early December. So when I was talking about changed behavior, I meant, yeah, he really hasn't been a part of her channel like that. She doesn't really talk about him in that way unless I think Rosie brings him up. So I just want to be clear that when I was saying changed behavior, I wasn't necessarily talking about anything else in regards to going in real life, etc. Although I do understand.
Once again, Nikki has never gone in real life. Nikki has never gone IRL with Roz.
That's the problem people have with Cam, and that's the problem that people feel like Nikki still potentially has a little bit. It's also possible to say that I could be wrong about her involvement with Cam as well, and I want to address that. Most people in my comments were not talking about her relationship with Cam. Most people in my comments were talking about other behaviors that she's participated in that we'll talk about in just a little bit. But there was one person who did comment about Cam, and I just want to share their response to my video and then what I've done to see if there's any kind of continued relationship with him. So this commenter says, "Hello."
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I don't think so, Bella. I disagree. I don't think Roz is making these orders herself. I mean, it could come out that she is, but I don't think she is. This person, no, oh, Zach's gonna read this. Oh, Winter Joy, you are so wrong. What do you mean still together? People think they're in this relationship. They aren't in a relationship.
I needed you to know that Cam and Nikki are very much still together and chatting away on Discord. Cam admitted it on a live stream recently on Twitch. He admitted his love for her. I don't want to judge, but obviously she's been lying about no contact. He also admitted and said Nikki's information about Rosie is everything he dug up on her. He has and is still saying vile things about you, which I'm very sorry about. In regards to...
So, that is not correct. Have you vetted this person? How would this person know about this, right? Cam is talking shit, right? But, yeah. This isn't accurate, right? This is not accurate. This is not accurate, right? So why are we believing this random person? This is not true. Nikki is not in contact with Cam. Right? Nikki is an amazing researcher. She has found so many things. Cam admitted his love for her. So, good for him, right? They're not in a relationship. I mean, he is saying some vile things about Zach, like on Twitter, and yeah.
On her. He has and is still saying vile things about you, which I'm very sorry about. In regards to this commenter, they are correct that Cam still alludes to, or it could be inferred or implied by the way he talks, that he's still in contact with Nikki T in his live streams, as
But he's not. They're not in contact. Cam is having some mental health issues, it seems. But no, that's not accurate.
demonstrated by these clips.
Mudslicker says, I'm pretty much out of all the GWBS. I'm locked into Nikki, being laser focused on exposing her. I'll catch Popey just because he's the only live at 6 a.m. for me. Oh yeah, that guy goes live, like, because he's on the other continent. He's like on Nikki's continent. And Nikki's, you know, she goes live and everything like that. And I'm fast asleep, you know. I'll put Nikki on for like some, you know, a lot of people fall asleep to Nikki. I'm not, myself included from time to time. But
Implying that he falls asleep talking to Nikki. No. No, that's not what he's implying. He's implying that he falls asleep watching Nikki's videos. That's what I take that as. I fall asleep listening to Nikki's videos.
You know, I'm very used to falling asleep to Nikki talking.
No, Zach, I'm sorry. I was almost going to call Zach an idiot. I guess I just did. No, he's not implying that he falls asleep talking to Nikki. He's saying that he falls asleep to Nikki's streams. He just said I'm fast asleep. And that he puts on Nikki's streams because she streams at night for us here in the US. That is completely twisting what Cam said.
So,
The next clip is Cam talking about how he discovered a subreddit account that he exposed as being Rosie's. And just recently, Nikki in a live stream also talked about a new subreddit account that people believe is Rosie's. And interestingly enough, when they both talk about it, they discuss
Yeah, that was very disingenuous of Zach to put that up there. It's very clear that Cam is talking about either things in the past or he will put on Nikki's streams and fall asleep to Nikki's streams.
Rosie's, and interestingly enough, when they both talk about it, they discuss a woman named Michelle and how
When they both, yeah.
this Michelle woman wanted them to go after Nerfy.
so
So, what does this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with fuck all? So, because Nikki and Cam both found this Reddit account. What does it have to do with fuck all?
funny that you mentioned that, Mud, because, you know, we are pretty good at
Right. It's just look. A lot of us use Nikki's content because she's fucking good. Nikki finds things that I can't find. I also don't look very hard. I should look harder. People reach out to Nikki all the time for information. And if you all are going to listen to Zach and believe this bullshit, then you can fuck off and stop asking Nikki for information. Just because Nikki finds things and then Cam goes on Twitch a couple of days later and says the same thing doesn't mean that they're in communication. It just means that Cam watched Nikki's stream like the rest of us.
sussing out a couple of little Reddit accounts. In fact, I was the first one to suss out her last Reddit account. I'm going to be the one to suss out any future Reddit accounts going forward. It's
Just because Cam finds things doesn't mean that Nikki can't also find it. Any one of us can find this. Just because Cam thinks he's the first to find these things doesn't mean it's actually true. Right? Any one of us can find this information.
just going to keep happening over and over and over and over again. because she has a format, she has a thing that
Cam is also getting things wrong lately. So I don't know.
she says. She has a way of doing things. I don't know if you guys like know about this person, or have you ever heard about this person, but there is a person named Michelle. Michelle is this person that was a staunch Rosie defender for a long time, and still is. Apparently, she was feeding Rosie receipts about what me and you know who were like up to, me and my cohort, I guess, my fucking colleague, my partner in crime, which is a lot better and more appropriate to use in terms of like anything else. But I don't know, like, what was it, the creepy quirky crew, or the quirky creepy crew, whatever the fucking shit she wants to do. But Michelle was this person who wanted me, and I'm just gonna say like her name, she wanted me and Nikki to expose this person named Nerfy.
And then here's a clip.
So that would have been a while back. Nerfy, I think Nerfy has another channel now. I can't recall the name of it. I don't know what there would be to expose about Nerfy, to be honest, but that wouldn't have been any time recent. And I love how Zach is like, this person named Nerfy. He doesn't even know who Nerfy is. Right? But why are you using these clips of Cam saying these things whenever you don't think Cam can be trusted? All right, this isn't recent. What he's talking about here, Zach. I think Nerfy's current channel is something about not another reaction channel or something. But Nerfy was inactive for probably at least a year, I would say. I don't know a lot about Nerfy these days, but I think Nerfy was inactive for a while.
Of Nikki talking about the subreddit account and going on then to also talk about Michelle and the ways that Michelle has targeted her and Cam in the past.
But like they were also raging about the fact that they were banned from the QLR subreddit.
Okay, so what are the dates on these? Zach? What was the date that Nikki talked about this, and what was the date that Cam talked about those things on Twitch? And I believe it was somebody in Nikki's chat, that brought up Mish.
Like obsessive. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of posts. Okay, I'll show you guys the really long one. It's quite fucking funny. It's like breaking down all of the things and how we're all inherently bad because at one point in time we interacted with somebody, you know? It's like this kind of level of unhinged. Like, look at this, breaking down. Who is Cam? Who is Nikki? Who is Aren't You Exhausted? It even said, who is Miss T? And who is Rage Piggy? They're really like obsessed with us girls. Watch your back. And like everybody in the replies is just saying, Rosie, log off. Oh my God, will you please go away already? No one cares.
The QLR snark at it, who are Miss T and how fucking stupid. I'm gonna have to look this up. This is funny. I'm a little sad they didn't talk about me. Fuck off, person. It's just this is a nothing burger. What the fuck is this? It's some random person that's a Rosie stan talking shit about people on a subreddit.
Is the replies. Laughing my fucking ass off. The way you came right back after everyone told you this is insane is so funny. Oh my God, I don't think the initial structure of the post was wrong. And keeping on linking the Zachary Michael video. Yes, and the snarks are...
Who is Aren't You Exhausted? Was a mod and did a clothing exchange with Rosie before their falling out. Was also associated with Cam Nyan until the Grapist email. Pick 10 and 11. Has a Discord that is currently closed for applications. So they have all these pictures. Oh, thank you for subscribing. So apparently they have a whole thread in here with pictures. Personal information about Remy's family shared there, alleged, is a mod on the QLR Snark subreddit, pick number 13. So that's Aren't You Exhausted? Aren't You Exhausted is a bad person too! Who are Miss T and Fat Kid Cool? Fans of Nikki T and Aren't You Exhausted? Frequent posters of Rosie Fat Corn and harassment. Fat Kid Cool, frequent poster in QLR Snark subreddit. QLR Snark subreddit is ran by Ugly Fat Ass Liars, Snow Bear, a reactor, and Aren't You Exhausted, reactor. So it is owned by Ugly Fat Ass Liars. The others are mods. I'm also a mod on the QLR Snark subreddit. Has shared AI pics of Remy and his partner. They claim they were real. Those got removed pretty quick. Anything about Remy has been removed from the subreddit. I will say, Vicky does run the subreddit with an iron fist. Hey, Miss T. Libby, they're bullying me. I'm sorry, Miss T. I'm sorry you're being bullied. This person does say, while I don't believe anyone outside of Cam9 has gone IRL, Nikki T and Aren't You Exhausted are still engaging in questionable behavior. Are they? Perhaps they've been around that psychotic behavior for so long. So I will say, I have seen very little of Ashley's content. I do need to try to make an effort to watch her more, but I have very little free time. And they're linking Zach's video, The Weirdo Who Won't Leave Rosie Alone. So again, Zach got a lot of shit wrong in that video because he did not reach out to Nikki to ask questions. He didn't reach out to anybody. He got so many things wrong. Well, Ashley's been on vacation. I think she'll be back soon. Yeah, this is bullshit. Zach's receipts here are bullshit, I'm sorry to say. I need to speed this up. I need to start working soon.
Reddit. Anyway, guys, that's just a little taster of some of the shit that Rosie's doing on the Reddit.
Now, I don't know if that was a Roz sock account, to be honest. If that was the Cautious Range account, I believe Girlspiracy took credit for it. There is another account that Michelle person has taken credit for being, because they mentioned themselves in a comment. So I don't know if that actually is Roz. I think it was somebody else perhaps, but I couldn't see the name on the account because I'm blind and it was tiny. But it's bullshit. It's just people spreading misinformation.
So she won't admit to it, you know. But tell you what, the way that Rosie and this Michelle lady, so Michelle lady like tried to get me to basically Michelle and Rosie both got kicked out of the Discord that Tiny was a part of, and this Michelle was
I think that was Nerfy's Discord, if I'm not mistaken.
trying to get me to infiltrate that Discord, and I was like, I don't really do that kind of thing. That's not really something.
Yeah, so the Cautious Range account, somebody named Girlspiracy, I think took credit for it in a YouTube comment.
To infiltrate that Discord, and I was like, I don't really do that kind of thing. That's not really something that I do. And ever since then, she was on a rampage. I have like a short with all of the like documenting just one interaction that I had with that lady. So I was like, oh, maybe it's her. But like, it's weird because Rosie and Michelle both have the same list of people that they hate.
What was that supposed to prove, Zach? Oh, just that they talked about this. Okay, sorry. I went off on a tangent there. He was trying to show that talking about the Reddit account.
Rant that I have had for you Let's call that over. Let's call that like bygones. Of course, like I might get heated again to kind of like remind people like, hey, you people are pieces of shit. You treated people like doling out like the actual fucking resets like pretty fucking severely, which is so fucking shitty. You also shamed my partner. That was also really fucking shitty. To then like say like you're not still talking to him. It's none of your fucking business, frankly, at this point. But where do you think the fucking research comes from, genius? You fucking idiots.
But to
Okay, so I can understand how people would think, from what Cam said there, that Nikki is still working with Cam. She's not. I'm just telling you flat out right now, she's not. He probably watched Nikki's video. I think Cam went live after Nikki went live. Cam watches Nikki's streams. He obviously watches her streams. No, it's just wrong. It's not correct information.
provide some level of skepticism about that, I will say that Cam says a lot of things on Twitter and Twitch that are just not true, including
Okay, so now you're saying he says things that just aren't true, but you're taking him at his word for whatever he's saying about Nikki, whatever you perceive to be about Nikki.
any crazy things that he said specifically about me. And because of that, I do not necessarily take anything that Cam says as truth or gospel.
But you are.
It's very possible in my eyes that he could be lying about this, just like he lies about several things about me on the internet. And it's because his lies about me are so...
Okay, what are we saying here? He's calling Zach an abuser. I don't understand how anyone can look at this sweaty, miserable deathbed alcoholic and think they're a quote diva or queen when they're stacking LBS because they can't get a workout, throwing things, hitting it at their partner. Bro, the fuck is up with that chin? You stole it from FFG? You mean by proxy harassment via Twitch of his ex a la Repzion? Love how he throws his hair towards the screen like he's headbutting his ex outside the gay bar. And calling Zach a bitch ass white boy. So I mean, Cam does come across as unhinged in these comments about Zach. I mean, Zach has said he doesn't drink.
just like blatantly untrue and not real, that like I feel like I can say that it wouldn't surprise me if he was also just making up lies about a continued relationship with Nikki, making up lies about
That would be accurate, Zach.
Rosie.
Why show all that being like, oh, look, here's evidence, and then walk it back? Nikki doesn't talk to Cam. Nikki doesn't share information with Cam. They're not in cahoots.
He doesn't really seem like a person that is rooted in truth. He seems really unwell to me, to be honest. And because of that, like, it's possible that he's just making shit up. I do know that many people have asked for Nikki to clear up concerns that she's still in contact with Cam, and she typically skirts around the issue and claims that she doesn't need to address any of it because she already has.
I don't want to have to keep addressing
I'm gonna let Nikki finish really quick here.
this shit about Rosie saying that I go IRL because I fucking don't. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to keep addressing like stuff in the past, my personal life. I'm over it. Like shit that's already been addressed, I'm not going to keep addressing it. So let's just go. I'm going to call her a liar and then hopefully that's the last time I have to do it because I'm done with it. Honestly, I'm tired.
I did share a
Look, she doesn't have to address these things. She's addressed it in the past. Why does she have to keep saying these things? So here's the thing. You think Cam is unhinged. people are saying that he's unhinged, he's crazy, he's gone IRL with Roz, all these things. You think that maybe Nikki doesn't want to address these things because Cam is unhinged? Maybe Nikki is also in a position where Cam could come after her. Who knows? If Cam is as unhinged as people are saying he is, and as people think he possibly is, and he's doing all this IRL and doing all these things, why should Nikki put herself in a position to become a target? People want her to keep addressing this, and she's like, look, I'm not going to address this. She has said what she is going to say. People can take it or leave it. Just because Cam comes on and says shit. I'm going to see if he's going to read this.
Community tab post in my last video where she did try to take accountability for her involvement with Cam at the
She didn't try. Nikki has taken accountability. So this says, for clarification, so this was after the incident on Levi's birthday in December. Nikki says, for clarification, I am not Cam's accomplice. I never planned to do any interview with the person Rosie spoke about. That would never be a thing here. I didn't know anything about this email. I really truly thought Rosie was lying. I think you all know this obviously had nothing to do with me, but I'm telling you 100% I was not a part of this. Cam acts alone and acts sometimes without thinking, and this was a step too far for me. So going forward, he's not going to be a part of or a guest on this channel. I do not condone his behavior at all. It's really genuinely shocking. It's really genuinely shocked, confused, and upset me. So I'm sure many of you feel the same. I'm so damn sorry to anyone affected, and understand if you need to distance yourself. This is supposed to be a safe space, safe place for everyone, and I will not waver from that. I'm sorry to all those who were hurt. I don't know what the fuck Cam was thinking, honestly. All I wanted to do here was support people and educate, and now I don't really know how to go forward with that. This should not diminish the words of truth from people like Chris. Victims still exist and matter, including Rosie. Always believe victims. Very importantly, please continue to support Chris and Britt. They had nothing to do with this either and deserve nothing but love, positivity, and support from the community. So it wasn't a trying to take accountability. I mean, what does she have to take accountability for in this? She had nothing to do with this. Anything that Nikki has taken accountability for, she has. Like with the situation of when Cam sent 2 years ago on Levi's birthday. It's just not okay to keep bringing those up. Nikki said, I shouldn't have laughed. Nikki was at work whenever Cam was doing that. And what she laughed about was Roz doxing herself and said she wasn't really even paying that much attention. She addressed it in one of her recent streams.
time of the email being sent to Rosie on Levi's birthday. But outside of that, I can't find any posts or videos from her that say that they aren't still dating or in a relationship in some.
They were never dating, Zach. You keep spreading that misinformation. Nikki and Cam were never dating, and they're not in a relationship. I can't find any. This is not okay.
Or videos from her that say that they aren't still dating or in a relationship in some kind of way.
They were never in a relationship, Zach. You are spreading complete misinformation. And if they were in a relationship, who gives a fuck? Yeah, from what I understand, Bella, Cam is gay. He could be bi. but I don't give a fuck. If they were ever in a relationship, whose business is that? They weren't. They never have been. They've been friends. There's this is irresponsible for Zach, because this is just complete misinformation. He is getting this from Cam calling her babe in videos whenever he would be live with her, because they'd be like, babe, because they were close friends. That is the only place Zach is getting this from. Hold on, my green screen is being weird because the sun's coming up, and hold on, sorry, I'm trying to fix my green screen. So, yeah, sorry. The sun's coming up and changing the lighting in my office. I mean, even if they were dating in I mean, yeah, Nikki's in Australia, Cam's in the US. People can date long distance. Distance doesn't fucking matter. But this doesn't mean they're in a relationship. I tell Nikki that I love her. Love you, Nikki. Does that mean Nikki and I are dating? Does that mean Nikki and I are in a relationship? Because we say love you to each other on stream? No. So Zach is completely spreading misinformation.
Doesn't have to clarify that, I suppose, but for me, I would personally appreciate Nikki clearing up any concerns.
Why does she need to? Why does she need to clear any of this up? It's irrelevant. Maybe you could reach out to her, Zach, instead of just assuming shit and getting your information from other people. This is completely just spreading misinformation. I would personally appreciate Nikki clearing up any concerns. She owes you nothing, Zach. If you can't be bothered to reach out to her to be like, hey, I have some questions, would you mind answering? This is completely misinformation. Anybody giving you that information is not accurate. Nikki doesn't have to address jack shit if she doesn't want to. Point blank purr, as people would say, as the kids would say these days. I'm fucking 46 years old.
Clarify that, I suppose, but for me, I would personally appreciate Nikki clearing up any concerns about being connected to Cam for me to be able to personally move forward with her in any kind of way.
Because you moving on with her in any kind of way is oh so important, Zach, because you were the arbiter of girl world. Fuck off with that. It's, you know what? Don't use Nikki's content then. Don't use any of Nikki's videos. Don't use any information that she has found. Do it yourself.
Like I said, in addition to Cam's behavior towards Rosie, he continuously says really harmful things about me on the internet.
That's Cam. That's not Nikki, Zach. Your issue is with Cam, not Nikki.
That I would be more concerned about if there were any number of people actually engaging with his content that took him seriously. In general, Cam is somebody that makes the internet a less safe space for everybody, including myself and Rosie. And
Do you think maybe he's made it unsafe for Nikki too? Did you think about that, Zach?
anybody who willingly stays connected to him, interacts with
Sorry, I just saw Nikki pop up in the chat. Nikki says, because me addressing this would not put a target on my back at all. Thank you, everyone, for continuing to push me for an answer on this that could potentially put me in a precarious situation. Right, Nikki? Zach said that Cam makes it unsafe for him and unsafe for Rosie. Do you not think that Nikki addressing any of this could make it possibly unsafe for her? Did you think about that, Zach? You are assuming so much worse without getting your facts straight. Nikki says, no one thought about the fact that this could put me in a bad situation. Thank you all for forcing me to talk about it. Appreciate that. Bye. Yeah, Nikki, we have your back. We love you. You don't have to address shit.
him or endorses him is a no-go for me. And
Well, good for you, Zach. Nobody is nobody's endorsing Cam. Nobody endorses him, including Nikki. Whoever you're getting your information from is giving you bad information, Zach. Nikki says, sorry, but anyone who repeatedly asked me to talk about this when I said I wasn't comfortable, fuck you. Well said, Nikki. Zach could just have easily reached out to Nikki either via Twitter or on her channel in the comments. Right? And again, Nikki says, I hope that everyone who continued to pressure me to speak on this feels really proud of themselves right now. Thank you so much for putting me in the line of fire once again. Not that I was ever out. Right? It's people might not like me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. People look to Zach as like the king of Girl World because he's been around for so long. They think he's infallible. They think he knows everything, and he doesn't. He doesn't. He hasn't reached out to Nikki. He's not even getting his information right. He has said multiple times that Cam and Nikki were in a relationship and dated, and that is not true. It's not okay. He needs to do his own research. You know, he has made this his job. He has the time to look things up himself. People look to Zach for information. How many times, even in my own fucking Discord, do I have people being like, well, Zach said this, Libby. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what Zach said. All right. People constantly say in comments and Discord and Reddits, well, Zachary Michael said this, because they think that Zach is this god of Girl World that knows everything. And for this here, he knows jack shit. Nikki says, I'm just trying to go to bed so that I can go to work tomorrow. I really don't need this. I just want to keep putting out receipts, videos, and I'm going to be putting giant watermarks on all of it. You absolutely need to do that, Nikki. You know, I have your back. I love you bunches. And if you need to go to bed, you go to bed. Because I still have like 25 minutes of this. But you know I have your back. Right? His word carries weight. People believe things that Zach says because he's been around for so long. This is a very irresponsible video for him to put out. He is absolutely punching down on a small channel. Absolutely. He is spreading misinformation, blatant lies, expecting Nikki to come out and say shit whenever he himself just said that Cam has made the internet unsafe for him and for Roz. Do you not think for one fucking second that it could be unsafe for Nikki to speak out? They were friends for a long fucking time. Nikki says, I would really just appreciate if people would stop blaming me for other people's actions and allow me to continue to provide the receipts that everybody is using all the time. Would that be okay? No, Nikki, I'm sorry, love. That's not okay. No. And I just want to say, Nikki is an incredible person. Nikki is a wonderful, wonderful person. Nikki, you don't have to speak out about anything, love. Please keep yourself safe. You know that I'm here for you for whatever you need. Nikki is an incredible, kind, caring person. And I am very happy to call her a friend. People expecting her to put herself in the line of fire and in harm's way to try to address something that does not need to be addressed, that is based on rumors. Shame on you, and fuck off, kindly. I agree, Nikki. Nikki says the potential danger that these people believe that I could be in and still try to press me to comment is disgusting, just saying. You don't know anybody anything, Nikki. Get some sleep, love. I will be here in the morning when you wake up.
Again, Nikki certainly doesn't have to do anything in regards to speaking on her relationship.
Right. You're right, Zach. She doesn't. You know what? In your snark Reddit, Zach, in your snark Reddit, people said a lot of shit about Noel. A lot of shit. And that pissed you off. Amber said one thing about you, and you called her a fucking bitch. And everybody was like raving and, oh, look at Zach, he called Amber a bitch. Huh? Based on something she heard from your snark subreddit. Maybe people would like to hear you address these issues with Noel's relationship, since you're expecting Nikki to address all this shit about Cam. And Nikki says, also for the record, I don't think I'm in any physical danger. Cam uses words, that's fine. I can handle words, but when someone with 170k subs is telling people that I'm unreliable and I got 3k, why? Right. Exactly, Nikki. And Nikki says, I'm actually really upset that I've even had to say this, and I wish that I could go back and unsay it. You can delete the message. You talking about me, Saipez? I'm too biased? I am biased because I defend Nikki. But Zach is spreading misinformation about Nikki in this video. He's taking things about Cam and applying it to Nikki.
With him, but it's certainly concerning nevertheless. outside
What's concerning, Zach? Why is it concerning?
of Cam, people have concerns about a lot of Nikki's current behavior. And I'm gonna
What current behavior? What current behavior? What the fuck has Nikki done? Tell me, Zach.
go and share a number of comments that I got in my last video because, again, I did ask people to
Oh, you're gonna share comments from your last video. Okay. Nikki says, people record everything and they will weaponize this against me, I'm sure, or weaponize it against Cam. I'd rather that you didn't if possible. But I know you don't respect me, so FML, I guess. Are you talking about me or someone else, Nikki? What? What, Nikki? Good morning, Rage Piggy. I'm sorry, Nikki. I'm not following your most recent comment. Are you talking about Zach?
let me know if I was unaware
Why don't you look things up yourself, Zach? That's the only way to make sure you're getting accurate information, is to look it up for yourself.
of something, if I was missing something. And all of these folks shared their thoughts, feelings, and opinions about Nikki. And because of that, I wanted to share that and also show it as
Okay, great. So you're getting people's opinions and thoughts about Nikki. Well, here's my opinion and thought about Nikki. She's a pretty good fucking person. She's never gone IRL. She's never shared personal, private information about Roz or anybody in Roz's circle. Nikki has gone out of her way in her videos to edit out people like Rosie's sister and Rosie's ex-partner. Nikki has gone out of her way to remove these people because they're not Roz and they have no relevance. Maybe you need to reach out to Nikki and actually talk to her, Zach, instead of asking for people's opinions on her in your comments.
the place where I started in terms of looking for more information. This person said, considering Nikki is
Okay, Girlspiracy. This is the Cautious Range account on Reddit that has some weird fucking vendetta.
still on Twitter helping fund the gathering of police reports, sharing house deed documents that can easily
What, Rage Piggy? So again, I'm gonna say that I'm trying to not pay much attention to the chat because I want to get through this. I'm trying to focus on Zach. I am seeing a couple of comments here and there, but I'm not focusing on the chat. Yeah, I just saw that in his video.
be linked to her address, interacting with posts of Roz's nudes she has specifically asked to stop being shared, dismissing the twisted tea delivery as no big deal, and continuing to surround herself with people who call Roz a farm animal and openly joke about doxing her. I don't see any evidence that she's changed. She's also still interacting with the same people who doxed Remy in their Discord, outed him on
In their Discord? Nikki's only in 2 Discords.
YouTube and made homophobic remarks and hurting comments expressing disbelief about Rosie's assault. And all of this is just the tip of the iceberg because many people have come forward saying that she has harassed them as well. I have receipts of it all. One thing
No, you don't. No, you don't. You have absolutely fucking nothing. Okay, let's take this bit by bit here. All right, considering Nikki is still on Twitter hoping to fund the gathering of police reports. All right. Nikki didn't do any of this shit to be frank, all right? not the HRH, requested the police reports. So here's the thing. Rosie accused people in Girl World of doing this shit. I also put in a FOIA request for this information. I haven't received anything, but I put in a FOIA request for the wellness check and for the police call about the break-in. I haven't received it. Not the HRH hasn't received those either, but she did receive previous ones. Right? I have information about Emily. I have information about Amberlynn's mom. I made 2 different videos about Amberlynn's mom's police record because I was tired of misinformation being spread. So I got that so I could correct the record. I only shared what was relevant. If that means that I've also gone IRL, then so fucking be it. Right? I had my reasons, and I shared relevant information to correct misinformation. Nikki did not do any of these things. Sorry, I just smeared my glasses. Just because Nikki interacts with people on Twitter, right? Nikki doesn't allow certain things in her chats, but her chat has gotten really big. And a lot of people will say shit. Sharing house deed documents. Somebody did share that information. But that also, so sharing, look, you can easily find Roz's address. I have Roz's address. Am I going to share it? No, I never will. The house deed documents also kind of disputes narratives, right? The house is back in Roz's parents' names. It's not in Levi's name anymore, right? So that dispels that narrative. Nikki says, sorry, Nikki, I missed your comments here. Nikki says, I actually don't care if people like me or not. Just don't accuse me of things I didn't do and don't force me to speak about something that's particularly precarious if you care at all. Nikki says, I would just like to continue with my receipts. You don't have to like me, but that doesn't matter one bit. Receipts are receipts. I am not a topic of conversation. I am a sharer of information. Just keep doing what you're doing, Nikki. We will correct the record for you and defend you. But this misinformation, needs to stop being spread. So, he needs to look at who this person is. Interacting with posts of Roz's nudes. She has specifically asked to stop being shared. Dismissing the twisted tea delivery is no big deal. And continuing to surround herself with people who will call Roz a farm animal and openly joke about doxing her. I don't see any evidence that she's changed. I don't think anybody's doxed her. People in my chat, people in my community, Nikki and I share a very large portion of our communities. Because Nikki sent a lot of people to my channel. And I'm grateful to her for that. Because they're good people. Nikki says, I don't really understand why my personal life and my interactions with people are being scrutinized. I have been called an archiver. My personal shit actually shouldn't matter to BH. I agree, Nikki. I agree. You aren't the subject. A lot of people share Roz's nudes. It was a part of Roz's past. People share that shit because Roz tries to claim that it's trauma. And that she was broomed into things. And that's not the case. People do it to antagonize her. because Roz can't admit these things. She's also still interacting with the same people who doxed Remy in their Discord. I don't know what Discord Remy was doxed in. It was not mine. Nikki is only in 2 Discords. And see, Nikki says to me, this is all a huge distraction from what I should be doing, which is making my videos and getting out receipts. I'm sorry if it comes off cold, but I feel like I'm wasting my time addressing this. You don't need to address it, Nikki. You don't need to address it, love. I appreciate you being in my chat, though. Talking to us. But you eat dinner. Please make sure you eat. Give Cruzy some head scritches for me. And get some sleep, sweetie. Homophobic remarks. So the people that made the homophobic remarks, that was... I forget the dude's name, but it was some other fucking dude. Nikki would not support homophobic comments. Right? Nikki didn't share the pictures that were taken when she was in Texas. Multiple people have come forward saying that Nikki has harassed, that she has harassed them as well. I have receipts of it all. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see your receipts, Girlspiracy, because I think you're full of shit. Any of your receipts are from 2 years ago. Good night, Vera. Sleep well, little Chukin. Get some rest. You were able to find the High Calorie Creator subreddit, but the posts about Nikki have no screenshots that prove she's still involved with Cam. She talks smack about Zach, Chris, Britt, or any other allegations in the comments for this video. There's only one post that shows the same 2024 Discord messages, nothing from 2025 or 2026. Where are those? Yeah. You're not going to find screenshots about it because they don't exist. And why would Nikki talk smack about Zach, Chris, or Britt? Nikki is friends with Chris and Britt. Why would she talk smack about them? She hasn't talked any shit about Zach either, because why would she?
Because many people have come forward saying that she has harassed them as well. I have receipts of it all. One thing I'll...
No, you don't. No, you don't. And did you not read the comment below that, Zach, that you just showed where somebody said, yeah, I can't find any of this? Did you not read that comment as well, Zach? Exactly, Nikki. And Nikki said, if people don't want me to archive her, then they can stop using my archives and get on without me. End of story. I'm not a topic of conversation. Exactly. People can stop using Nikki's content. Don't ask her for anything. Don't use her videos. And look for it yourself. Addressing every fucking question. What am I addressing, Nikki? You want me to stop addressing Zach stuff? Because I'm not really reading the chat. What do you want me to do, Nikki? Isn't Joy Isn't Everything an ALR stock account? I don't know.
I'll say about this is that many of these people haven't necessarily provided any of those receipts.
Exactly! So what? Sorry. We're gonna stay calm. If they haven't provided the receipts, why are you addressing it? Why are you bringing these things up? Why are you even speculating on these things?
Granted, like, if they're posting them on subreddits, I'm not going to Reddit to look for tea. I do that as a boundary for myself because I don't want to accidentally stumble upon people talking. posted any of those receipts. Granted, like, if they're posting them on subreddits, I'm not going to Reddit to look for tea. I do that as a boundary for myself because I don't want to accidentally stumble upon people talking about me.
So you don't want to, so you're not going to go find things for yourself to get information because you're afraid you might find people talking shit about you. Then maybe just don't make a video like this then if you aren't going to go find the information yourself. How about that, Zach?
Haven't seen anything in my Instagram DMs the last time I checked, and I don't think anybody has emailed me since all of this started about Nikki as well. Another person said, yes, as far as we know, Nikki has moved on from Cam, but she is still very heavily involved with HRH, another very problematic person who has the habit of going way too far. She's currently fundraising on Twitter to collect money for all of the audio recordings of all the times the police have been to Rosie's house, and Nikki is helping her with that effort. Cam
Nikki, I think, sent HRH some money to help with the cost of things because we're using HRH's. I don't think I have shared it, but people that are, look, I agree. HRH has done some questionable things. I agree with that, right? But if you're going to use HRH's information and what she's found, Nikki's just like, hey, here's a few bucks to help with the cost.
has never been the only problematic person around Nikki. HRH has also been biphobic, among other things that I honestly
I agree, Nikki.
don't want to spell out, and I'm quite sure Nikki is aware of all of this. I myself have heard her talk about the issue from December and say, it was just an email, get over it, or something similar more than a few times. Every time the subject
Who? Are you talking about HRH or about Nikki, Toasted Girl?
of what Cam has done comes up, she tries to make it sound less than what it was. I can understand giving someone grace to grow and change because I also did. After all of this happened and she apologized, I was a watcher of hers, but I saw for myself that she seems to have a lot of the same anger that drove Cam to act out in the way that he did, but he unfortunately seems to be dealing with some other things that caused him to not be able to stop. Even in her reaction to this situation, she said something like, yeah, so what? He sent you a twisted tea. I don't really care about that. That to me doesn't really give the energy of someone who has learned and grown from their mistakes.
Look, once again, Nikki is not Cam. Cam shouldn't have done those things. At the end of the day, I've said this too. It was an email. It was an email with Cam trying to get a rise out of Rosie. There was never any intention of interviewing this person, right? It was an email. Should Cam have sent it and said those things? No. The twisted tea thing was 2 years ago. Nikki has said she didn't agree with it, right? People should not be sending things to Roz's house. Don't do it, right? We've been over this. Nikki has said she didn't agree with it. All of us have said we don't agree with this behavior. Right? And at the end of the day, it was an email. Cam was being a dick. It wasn't Nikki. Nikki didn't do that.
Another person responded to them and said, I didn't know who HRH was until Nikki posted about them. After a few minutes of watching the HRH video that Nikki promoted, I realized Nikki seemed much more vindictive and would support anyone who is against Rosie.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Toasted Girl responded again and said very much this, and more people are starting to think like her. It's spreading like an illness and I hate it. The bigger reaction channels absolutely refuse to call it out, which is a part of why it's becoming a problem. I get wanting to support smaller channels, but blindly referring your larger platforms to these smaller creators about without knowing how much of an issue they are, that's an issue itself. It's very much becoming, we will support you if you hate Rosie. I know people like ZM and Pulpy don't actually think that way, but they're helping promote channels that do. You can only claim ignorance about it for so long. Sit fully through one Nikki stream and listen to that anger she has over someone who has personally never affected her life and tell me how that's not a problem, please. I responded actually and said,
So I will say, I think a lot of us get angry when it comes to Roz because of the shit that Roz says. We get angry. I get angry whenever she talks about being autistic and trying to claim marginalization and disability and all these things. A lot of us get angry, right? Because we get angry about something doesn't mean that we're these horrible, awful people. It means that we've seen Roz say and do these things over and over, and it pisses us off. Yeah, you don't watch her content, Zach. You said that right here. Rosie is not a good person, right? Are there some reaction channels that take things too far? Absolutely. Nikki isn't one of them, right? Are there bigger channels that take shit too far? Yeah. Look at Rachel Reacts. I think some other channels that I'm not going to name take things too far. I'm not going to name their channels because I know some of you in my chat are fans of those people. There are channels that I don't watch because I don't agree with the creators, and I will not support them, and I will not link them in my video descriptions. Nikki says, the last thing I am going to say is that there is a lot of hypocrisy happening in the community right now. I'm done with the hypocrisy. I'm moving on with my work. Good night, everyone. Good night, Nikki. Love you. Get some sleep. I will talk to you in the morning. Try to get some good rest. Nikki says, also, I've never been angry. People take my yelling as angry. Learn Australian. My best friend's called cunt, and my enemy's called mate. Yeah, he didn't reach out to Nikki at all. They didn't reach out to Nikki at all. Sigma Alpha Beta Mom. People assume a raised voice is equal to anger rather than passion. Yeah, that's true, Perez. I wouldn't say maybe Roz makes me angry. She irritates me. I don't have a lot of energy to be angry with her, but she irritates me. Now, whenever she spreads misinformation about people, that makes me angry. But she irritates me. So what's irritating me about Zach right now is that he's taking people's comments in his video comments as gospel.
I said that I'm not endorsing her in this video, I don't watch her content, and I shared what I knew about her to the extent that she's apologized and that
Right, and you don't know shit about her, Zach.
She hasn't been involved with Cam since the incident. Outside of knowing that the HRH covers Rosie now, my only other context of that channel is that they covered Naked and Laughing. I do not...
Naked and Laughing. Wasn't that... I don't know who that is. Wasn't that Cobra's girlfriend?
Watch all people who make content similar to me, which is why I don't endorse people besides Charlie. And Pulpy, I should have said, because we do raid into Pulpy sometimes after Twitch streams are done. If I get information from other people, I credit them, but that is also not an endorsement. Which I do...
Zach has said he's gotten information from me before, right? So you're taking people's comments on your video. I think my lawn people are here. I may need to run down and pay them really quick. Fuck. I'm so sorry. I need to go pay my lawn guys really quick. I will be right back. Alright, so sorry. I had to go pay my lawn guys.
Still stand by. Like me, whenever I go and get clips from Nikki, I almost never except for literally when I was doing research for this video, I almost never watch the whole video. There's a website called Filmot, FILMOT.com, where you can search the YouTube transcripts of any content creator's videos. And so when you've seen me pull stuff from her channel in the past, it's because I've gone and searched for keywords from her channel because I know that she archives a lot.
Yeah, look at that. Maybe you need to stop then. If, maybe you need to stop using Nikki's clips then, Zach.
Lot of stuff that Rosie does. So if I ever can't find a Rosie clip on my own, I will sometimes do that. And I think I've done it a handful of times, like 2 or 3 times. So no, I'm not entirely familiar with Nikki. And I do, as I've said in the past, always credit the people who help me, whether it's my moderators or other channels that I'm getting information from.
Maybe, so I'm gonna say this, Zach doesn't really do his own research. A lot of his mods bring him information. The comments on your video aren't proof of anything. Then just stop using Nikki's clips. Yeah, Zach doesn't credit everyone. Zach's used things from me before and not credited. He's credited me once, I think. But
I disagree that that's an endorsement, although I suppose in the future I can give disclaimers. I also feel like we live in a time where, like, you also need to be able to discern these things on your own and figure out these things. Never.
So you're saying that other people need to use their judgment and discern things, but you aren't going to read your comments and discern these things on your own. That's a little bit hypocritical there, Zach. Just a little bit. You have done 0 research on Nikki. You have not looked into Nikki at all. You don't watch her content. You find little clips here and there. And it sounds like you're going to continue to use her content, but it's not an endorsement. But you're going to think she's this horrible, awful person.
Nevertheless, I do appreciate getting some feedback from these folks, and I think that this comment did make people feel like I was, like, pushing them away when I did really truly ask for feedback. And Toasted Girl responded to me again and said, so I completely understand you aren't outright endorsing her, but being one of the biggest creators in the space, the content you choose to use for your content matters a great deal. If I didn't know anything more about Nikki, it would say to me, well, if ZM thinks that channel is okay, then maybe I should check them out. To be honest, I didn't even come to this video with the intent to comment. You asked if there was a reason you should be more skeptical of Nikki. I answered, I see you don't feel using Nikki's content is an endorsement, and I disagree.
This Big Bad Apple says, this is my opinion of Nikki and certain people who fully support her. I think we all need to really look at who we watch and what those people are saying. We can agree certain people should not be on the internet. The girls, to be exact, but that doesn't mean we have to support everyone else who doesn't like the girls. Look, not everybody is going to be for everybody. I say that all the time. There are plenty of creators out there in our space here in Girl World that I don't agree with, and I don't watch them. If I do use content from them, I do state where I'm getting it. Isn't Toasted Girl a Raj username? I don't know, Alara. She doesn't like Zach, so I don't think she would be commenting on his video. But there are not everybody's going to be for everybody. It's just, it is what it is, right? There are people that don't like me, and that's perfectly fine. Not everybody has to like me. I probably wouldn't like me if I were watching. So it's like, well, I'm saying I don't think she would comment on Zach's video and speak favorably of Zach because she is pissed at Zach. And I don't know if this doesn't read to me like Roz. I think Roz would go in a little more and would be a lot more verbose.
Skeptical of Nikki, I answered, I see you don't feel using Nikki's content as an endorsement, and I disagree, and that's okay. I responded and did say, I do appreciate people are giving me more info in their opinion, so I apologize if I made it seem like I wasn't open to hearing that feedback. I just wanted to be clear that nothing in this video was intended as an endorsement. Sorry for the confusion at Toasted Girl. So, first let's start with HRH, because I didn't even realize that
Why are we moving on to HRH now?
HRH was the person that was tweeting about the things that Rosie later in the live stream I reacted to was upset about in regards.
So again, I'm going to say I am way behind on Roz's content for the last week because I've been out of the country for work. I haven't seen any of Roz's live streams since June 20th because I've been out of the country. Nikki may catch me up on those, but we'll see.
To the call logs and the body cam footage and stuff like that. My knowledge about who the HRH is because I used to watch a lot of Willow Davis when he was still regularly posting, and I watched a lot of his coverage of King Cobra and his girlfriend Jessica, and anytime Jessica would do something, not the HRH would have like archives of her live streams and stuff, and so Willow used their content to react to sometimes. I have since learned that I believe what some of these people are referring to in terms of like doxing Remy's stuff and things like that. HRH is the person who found or at least like publicized Remy's Reddit information.
The HRH is the one that publicized Remy's Reddit. A lot of people had that information, did not share it. HRH did. I did not watch HRH's video on that. I kept myself as far away from that as I could because at the time Remy was not a public person and was not sharing. I was very much of the mindset, and I still am, if Roz and Remy did not share the information about him or their relationship themselves on her channel, I was not going to share it or bring it up, and I refused to show any information that people found about Remy that had not been shared publicly by them. Now, I will say police records and all of this stuff is public information if you request it. For me, with Roz blaming Girl World for the wellness check and all of these things, I think we have the right to find out if that's true or not, because Roz is an unreliable narrator. She has a history of lying about things and making herself the victim in situations where she is not. She's blaming Girl World and like Cam, quite honestly, and people for calling in the wellness check. I don't think it was anybody in Girl World. I think it was a neighbor, to be honest. So I think trying to get that information to clear people's names and be like, look, Roz is fucking lying about this. It calls into question a lot of things that she claims.
Reddit account and things like that, so I know that's a thing as well. And it actually seems like maybe HRH has been working on this like call log, police report stuff for a while, and we'll get into that.
Because I have a fucking backlog. I requested at the end of March. Or April, I think. Middle April, maybe. I've received nothing.
But because some of these people in my comments mentioned Nikki's tweets, I did go through all of them, at least back until like, well, all of them, I don't know if I checked all of her.
Nikki tweets a lot. Going through all of Nikki's tweets is going to take you a while, Zach.
Replies to other people, but all of the tweets she shared herself directly, like to her Twitter account first, which includes things like quote tweets. I looked through all of those posts all the way back until December when the email from Cam happened. And I certainly did find what people
Look at that. Zach's doing his own research. Look at that. Good job, Zach. Looking through Nikki's Twitter because that's going to take some time.
were talking about in regards to her supporting some in real life, like poo adjacent touching. The first thing I found was that Nikki actively
What would you consider poo adjacent touching? I don't know, Emily. Mine's taking a while.
reshared a document about Levi selling the family home back to his parents. She quote tweeted somebody
Yeah, so this is Kentucky Dad. Hello, Kentucky Dad, if you're watching this. This is what they were home to sign documents for last year. I'm sure. Right, yeah, so somebody found this. They did block out all of this information. So they did block out any identifying information about the house. And this actually benefits Roz's parents having this information, because people will say that they put the house in Levi's name, blah blah blah, so they could get away, but it's back in their name now.
who had shared that document. And basically my feelings are, in order to even know where to look for said document,
Now, do I agree with sharing that document? Probably not. I don't know why it's our business whose name the house is in. So that would be something that I would disagree with Nikki on, to be honest. And I would have no problem telling Nikki that I disagree with that being shared. Because I mean, it really isn't our business whose name the house is in. It was a document showing that Levi sold the house back for $10 to the parents because he was the one on the deed. Yeah, and Zach just now shared it. Yep. Do I think that's any relevant or important information to Roz? No. That has to do with Roz's parents and Levi. I personally disagree with sharing that information because it has nothing to do with Roz.
you probably have to know way too much about Rosie's home address and things like that. She also did share 2 tweets from HRH about the call log.
Okay, Roz's home address is not hard to find. I have her home address. I've said that before. Am I going to do anything with it? No. I needed it to put in my FOIA request. That's why I have her home address. It's pretty ironic how Nikki's turning out to be just as toxic as Roz. Nikki's not toxic. I agree. I disagree that Nikki is toxic. So, yeah. So Nikki is just quote tweeting. She is not sharing. She didn't get this information herself, right?
And also a tweet from HRH about fundraising money to get access to the body cam footage from when Rosie called the cops because she felt like there was an intruder at her home. And to that extent, I feel like I understand why people have concerns about that. I feel like Nikki is excusing some aspects of going in real life. I think for some people in this corner of the internet, this is something that comes across as like technically public record, because one of the things that happens in America is that we do have access to public police records and things like that.
Right,
there is something called the Freedom of Information Act, also pronounced FOIA, that any citizen can use to access whatever they might want to access in terms of police records. But like I said, when it comes to the house deed information and stuff like that, I feel like the amount of personal information that you have to have about Rosie and her family and her home are all concerning to me.
I will say Rosie has shared that information herself. Rosie has doxed their last names. Rosie's mother has doxed her last names. Can you please stop using all caps in the chat, people? I've mentioned before that some people have issues with all caps. So, yeah. You mentioned Mama Lynn's court records. I have Mama Lynn's records. I made 2 videos about it, clarifying information, setting the record straight on things. Rosie has doxed all of this information herself. She has set her address before. They have their last name. Roz has her last name on her PayPal or Venmo or something that she's shared on Instagram. So, I mean, you are sharing this information, right? And yeah, it's not a fundraising. It's like, hey, if you want to give me money, you can. No, Paradise did not show her full name. Paradise said Quirky Love Rosie.
Even if you blur that information
Right. I only know Roz's last name because I was going through her Instagram and it was on her fucking Instagram. That was the first time I heard Roz's or that I knew what her last name was from her own Instagram.
out, you cross that information out when you ultimately share it. It probably really is uncomfortable for Rosie to know that all of that information is out there. And I guess the other side of this argument is that people feel like Rosie deserves this, that Rosie has done bad things, so Rosie deserves bad things to happen to her. But that's just simply not how I operate.
So I disagree. I disagree with going IRL. I disagree with sharing that information. So
in life, like, I don't think we're doing any vigilante justice.
Yes, Mars.
By harassing her in this kind of way. I don't think it really helps anything in the situation, but perhaps you and I may just disagree about that. And outside of people excusing this as like technically being public record, I think the other thing people tend to rely on in situations like this is when people accidentally share too much about themselves. So like I have seen people being like, well, Rosie doxed herself, so it's her fault. Rosie put this information out there, like Rosie.
She did, Zach. She put this information out there. Yeah, let's not do a guilty by association. Zach used to be friends with Callie. Callie is completely unhinged.
I think the other thing people tend to rely on in situations like this is when people accidentally share too much about themselves. So like I have seen people being like, well, Rosie doxed herself, so it's her fault. Rosie put this information out there, like Rosie put her full name out there at some point, so it's her fault. But honestly, if I think about this critically, I would say that it would make me really uncomfortable if I was in that position and it was done to me. And that is...
Yeah, I think it would make all of us uncomfortable. Yeah, Zach was friends with Callie. They did a collab together years ago. She's not actively working with HRH. Big Back Nation Fatty. You're incorrect on that. Apparently you are, Nikki. Nikki, you should be asleep, love. Apparently you're working with HRH, Nikki, which is untrue. And Nikki says you're not going to lie to me in front of my face. No, she's not, Big Nation Fatty. You can fuck off with that. She's not working with HRH. Big Bat going to get blocked in a minute. Oh. Nikki, don't you abuse your mod power. You can block if you want, love. So you hate this nuance, but then appreciate it when he is nuanced by showing some of the IRL adjacent. She hasn't gone IRL. Nikki did not ask. So this is the last time I'm going to address this here in the chat. Nikki has not asked for funds. She retweeted something. That's not working with HRH. It's just like, hey, let me share that, right? Because it's expensive to get some of those things. So if anybody wants to support that information being sought, then they can. Doesn't mean Nikki is working with somebody. Nikki says, I have said that I am not going to pretend that I am not going to watch the fucking body cam because I'm going to, and I will donate to HRH because that shit is expensive, right? All right, just because she shared a tweet doesn't mean she's working with somebody. It's been paid for. And I will say, yeah, Rosie doxed herself and never went back and edited those things. She never removed it. Rosie continues to dox herself. Right? People do all kinds of shit to Foodie Beauty and Amber Lynn, and people are okay with that bullshit. People took pictures of Emily at like Disney World or somewhere with her kid. They cropped out the kid, but that's okay. People doxed Foodie Beauty. People call the cops on Foodie Beauty. People do all this fucking shit to Foodie Beauty and Amber Lynn, and it's perfectly fine. Right? There are multiple people that go IRL with the girls. I disagree with all of it. Nikki has not gone IRL with Rosie. I think you removed that on accident, Nikki. Kicking it with cows, Big Back Nation fatty. I don't know if that's Roz or not, Nikki, but all right, I'm going back to my video. Y'all be nice in chat.
Often how I approach things when it comes to other public figures on the internet, because as much as people want to justify things about Rosie, Amber Lynn, Chantal, and them being awful people and them deserving these things to happen to them, there are just as many things when it comes to other public figures on the internet, because as much as people want to justify things about Rosie, Amber Lynn, Chantal, and them being awful people and them deserving these things to happen to them, there are just as many people out there that feel that I'm an awful person and that
And Nikki, yes, your accident. Because that comment wasn't a bad comment, so I thought you maybe removed it by accident. Your name is Rosie because your name is Big Back Moron? Well, a lot of us are big backs over here. So yeah, none of the girls deserve people to go in real life with them. Yeah, Not the HRH it's at Not the HRH. That is their YouTube channel.
I might deserve bad things to happen to me, even though I know I'm not. And in fact,
Nikki says, I'm trying to be in bed right now and I don't care if people like me or not, or don't like me or talk about the things I've actually done. But when they're lying, it really upsets me and I shouldn't let it. Yeah. Don't let it upset you, Nikki, please. Get some sleep. Um, yeah, people aren't gonna lie on you.
Fact, I used to work at a public state school here in Illinois, and one of the rules, employee policies for working for a public institution like that is that those public institutions have to list all of their employees. So I was very easy to find on said website, and people did in fact contact my employer at the time and let them know how they felt about me. And sure,
Yeah, and that's not okay. People need to not do that, whether we're reaction channels or one of the girls. Nobody needs to be contacting anybody's employer, calling the police on them, doing any of that shit. Nobody needs to be doing any of that. I will stand on that, whether it's the girls or whether it's a reaction channel. Nikki says, I just don't really know what it is that I personally have actively done to anyone to warrant this kind of dragging. Can anyone tell me? I don't fucking know, Nikki. You were friends with Cam. How dare you have a friend that ended up doing some bad shit? How dare you? Fuck off, big nation, big back nation fatty. Fuck off.
that was all public information, but the intent behind it was to make me uncomfortable and to harass me. And I do think that that is some of the intent that is behind some of this perusing of her police records, perusing of documents related to who owns the house. That
Look, I don't know. I don't know why not the HRH does what she does, right? I requested it because I want to know who called in the request. It may or may not say it, right? Because Roz has made allegations against people that I think are inaccurate, and I want to set the record straight if I can. As far as who owns the house, I don't think it's anybody's business. I do disagree with Kentucky Dad sharing that information, and I will tell Kentucky Dad that. I disagree with it. Yeah, Nikki, get some rest, love. Love you. Get some sleep. The thing is, Zach has shown no proof of Nikki actually doing anything.
she lives in. So I do want to say Nikki has received some pushback regarding the funds that she was trying to encourage to be raised for these things.
There weren't funds to be raised. HRH already paid for it. It's just like, hey, you know, we're all watching and using this content. If you want to give back a little bit, give back a little bit, right? Right, you're not a character in the story, Nikki. You're an archivist. Leave me alone, Zachary. I agree, Nikki.
In a recent live stream. One of the things I thought was really interesting in this live stream that I watched of hers is that she swears that she doesn't go in real life multiple times and that she doesn't encourage others to do that because she's reacting to a live stream that Rosie just did where Rosie was talking about how people are going in real life and how there's some channel out there that's encouraging their audience to go do
Hey, Lisa, I hope you're doing okay.
those things. So for her to repeatedly say like, I don't encourage anybody to do that, don't do that, etc., it does feel a little bit contradictory then for her to.
How is it contradictory? How is it contradictory? It's not. Don't go IRL. Right? Getting public police records isn't going IRL in my opinion. Right? I guess what you do with that could be considered IRL if you use it for like nefarious IRL purposes, sure. But like I said, I have all of Mama Lynn's police records. I have her entire criminal history. I shared what was relevant to disprove a narrative that people were spreading. Jordy went to Kiwi Farms and read through every fucking thing without fact checking anything. Why is nobody called Jordy out for that? Nobody's called me out for it. Other than to say that I probably, I don't know, that I defend Amber or some bullshit. How is that contradictory, Zach?
To sit over here and say, hey, send some money to HRH to help raise these funds.
Wyoma, I understand your perspective on that. That's fine if you think that.
So Wyoma is a mod for Zach, just so people know. Wyoma also watches me. Wyoma watches Nikki. Wyoma watches Scar. Aren't you exhausted? Watches all the channels. And Wyoma says, I've been thinking a lot about the call logs, and it feels like the same poo touching Rachel did. Paying to get more, quote, receipts when it's unnecessary since the girls give us plenty of proof for free. I think the poo touching that Rachel did, Rachel was being shady with Tommy/Emily and was manipulating Rachel to get manipulating Emily to get information and offering to pay for it. Snowflake did the same fucking thing, right? These are two different things. Getting public information that's available through a FOIA request, I do not consider that poo touching. But I think it also depends what you use that information for.
My feeling is like if it's because Rosie's accusing people in the community of doing this stuff, I think it's fair for them to clear their name. Just saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. I agree with Nikki. I agree with Nikki 100% on that. I need to speed this up because I need to start working.
Also, she's a liar.
I think if you want to be mean for money, you can be dominatrix. So
She's shown us that she is the type of person who cannot be trusted. So I am not surprised.
There were coffee grounds in my coffee.
Is that people are doubting everything she says now and wanting to check facts. And isn't it your guys' right in the US to be able to get these records? So yeah.
it's consensual and mutually enjoyable.
Yes, it is, Nikki.
Yeah, my dad would bed because that's what I want to say. I think he would bed, but I'm not gonna say it.
If she was accusing me of doing this shit IRL and it was something to do with that I could find proof that it wasn't me, I'd also be doing the same thing.
When trauma happens, your growth gets stunted.
I agree.
Real, 100%. Oh yeah, I definitely have had a bit of arrested development for sure. For sure, I'm aware of that. I struggle. I never talk about my age regression issues because that's just not y'all's business. But I struggle with that, and I think it sometimes comes out in my content. I can't help it.
But they also, like, they will, if there's something that's like really egregious, they will protect the information. Like if it's something to do with, like for example, R word, anything like that, they do. I believe they do protect that. All states. It's you can't just like ask for that. Oh, and I also know.
Yeah. It's my understanding. If you put in a request for a police report that involves SA of any kind, they will redact information. You will not have the victim's name. Because they're protecting the victims. So if you're just not going to be able, some will just flat out refuse it. They will not release police reports when it comes to SA or GRAPE. Some states will just flat out not release them. So there are some instances where you cannot get that information.
They will protect the information. Like if it's something to do with, like for example, R word, anything like that, they do. I believe they do protect that. All states. It's you can't just like ask for that. Oh, and I also know that like if HRH does get videos and does decide to show them, they will be blurred. Certain people will be blurred, and you know their privacy will be respected. And again, I'm not doing it, but I'm not going to lie and say I'm not going to look at it.
And when she did receive pushback,
That's fine, cellar door. I don't give a fuck. If I think they're doing things that if I think they're doing things that I think are wrong and I disagree with, I will state it. Right? I don't give a fuck.
for it. She justifies it by saying that people should be able to clear their name, although it's really unclear on who is trying to clear their name, and she also
People she's blaming Girl World. She's blaming everybody in Girl World. So trying to prove like, hey, no, this wasn't anybody in Girl World. You know, we're getting information. I still am of the belief that it was one of her neighbors, and I could be wrong, but I believe it was one of her neighbors that called in the wellness request or the wellness check. I'm gonna get shit for calling Zach out, and I don't give a fuck because Zach is wrong in this video. He needs to do his own fucking research, not rely on a couple of comments on his video and take it as gospel. Zach needs to do better, quite frankly, when it comes to this. He has such a large platform that he is punching down at Nikki, who has nothing to do with Cam right now. This is not okay. This is absolutely not okay that Zach has not done his own research and looked into things and even reach out to Nikki.
gets pushback about that. Since honestly, truly, historically, my knowledge is that Rosie has predominantly claimed that Cam is the one that is making.
And none of this has shit to do with Nikki. None of this has this has fuck all to do with Nikki. Show me any receipts, Zach, for something Nikki herself has done. I'll wait. Right? You have a platform that is larger than any of us smaller channels put together. This is irresponsible of you, Zach. I expect better. You're not going to watch this video. You don't give a fuck what I have to say. You don't care about my opinion. You don't know who the fuck. Well, he vaguely knows who I am, but he forgets. This is completely irresponsible.
All of these deliveries and stuff, and is responsible for.
But we haven't seen proof. I don't think Cam is the one sending the food to her house. I don't think he is. I would like to see proof. If Roz has proof, then show it. Your beef is with Cam, not Nikki.
This behavior. I suppose it's possible at some point Rosie accused HRH of doing that, and I just haven't heard that. But somebody does.
I think on Twitter, have a good day, Bink Factory. I think Roz has accused HRH of some things on Twitter. I know HRH is very vocal on Twitter. I don't watch the channel, to be honest. Why is it okay for Yamino to do things IRL? What did Yami do, Cyanide Cupcake? Yami sent Roz something from her wish list on Amazon. Lots of people sent Roz things from her public wish list on Amazon. Now, I think Roz having a P.O. box is going to backfire if she publicizes that P.O. box.
Pushback on Nikki.
Not even as mods, Hazley. Just random ass people leaving comments.
And says, like, if it's just Cam that's being accused of doing stuff to her, then why do you care? And Nikki has a response for it.
She will never accuse anyone specific, but she will allude to it because she will say, the person who went over my Reddit, I'm not going to give them clout on YouTube. So I think that's grounds enough to want to defend yourself and prove that it wasn't you.
You're
not gonna,
part of it.
I'm really not going to keep arguing about it. Like, I'm not going to go back and forth on this. I've done what I've done. I've said what I've said. I've never gone IRL. It is what it is. Like, if other people are going to do that and I'm like, well, I'm going to look at it, then I'm not going to keep going over this.
Community, and you're going to keep punching down on other marginalized communities. What are you doing? It's crazy.
Punching in on marginalized communities. You're not part of a marginalized community, Roz, first of all. Anyway, that's irrelevant. This isn't about Roz. Yeah, people... See, I almost said, did she accuse anyone in specifically just Goro World in general, not including Cam. She blames him for all the poo touching because if it wasn't specific, whose names are you clearing? So Roz has said things about Nikki, his accomplice, that woman, that hateful woman. Roz has also blamed Nikki for things, and it can be a little confusing because Nikki went over some things. HRH has gone over things. It can be a little confusing about who Roz is referring to because she doesn't say their fucking names because she doesn't want to give them clout. Girl, Nikki gets more views than you do. Is being queer and neurodivergent not being part of a marginalized community? You know, could be. Could be. But I think she's talking about, Roz is talking about being autistic, and she's not autistic.
Another thing that I actually ended up discovering about the FOIA requests for police information is that it actually does go all the way back to the original situation with Cam. And I say that because at the time, Nikki uploaded, for archival purposes, a video of some Instagram stories of Rosie's where she talked about what happened with Cam and talked about...
Sorry, I'm not really paying attention to my chat right now. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through this so I can start working. I've been live a lot longer than I meant to be.
how she contacted the police about Cam in the past and wanted to start having a paper trail. At the
Let me slow this down just a smidge for some of y'all.
time that video was posted on Nikki's channel, one commenter said, "She will never stop making content from this. Never. This is freaking wild. She got exactly what she wanted, attention." And Nikki responded,
"Oh, look at that, Miss T. Miss T making an appearance." Let's see, when the FOIA request comes back, she might edit. So y'all stop accusing me. A different creator, so they had requested it, not me. Vogris, I'm sorry, I don't understand that comment, Nikki. And then Vogris said, "This is way too far. What made Cam's action completely gross and trippy wasn't just going IRL, but the going IRL Rosie's alleged SA. Sending a FOIA request about her police report continues what Cam started. It's disgusting. Victims of SA." So once again, you cannot get a FOIA request about an SA report or grape. They won't send it to you. If they do, it's going to be heavily redacted. Saying that she didn't make the request. Yes. Yeah, Nikki didn't make the request. Not the HRH did. I've also made the request for the, I've made the request, for the wellness check and for the break-in attempt. I haven't received them. So, I don't know why Rosie is, or why anybody's accusing Nikki of doing this, because Nikki didn't. She just shared it.
FOIA requests come back, she might. She has also since then edited that post to clarify that somebody else was requesting that information, not her, because a lot of people were pushing back that this was going too far. One commenter followed up and
Who's Scars Mods? Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
I'm paraphrasing this, but they essentially pointed out that requesting reports for if SA was reported by Rosie continues to go too far in the same way that Cam went too far by bringing up.
So again, Nikki never requested anything, and once again, as far as I know, HRH did not request anything about SA. Um, oh, hey, Scar. You're up early, hun. Scar says, I have mods on both sides. I have mods that are quite upset about the video, and I have mods that feel it can be a conversation. Yeah, I mean, nobody is... Look. Just because you like one creator doesn't mean you have to like all of us. Right? There are going to be people that like me that don't like Scar. People that like Scar that don't like Nikki. People that like Nikki that don't like me. Just because you like one creator doesn't mean you have to like everybody. Everybody's going to have their own opinions for whatever reason. My issue with this video is that Zach has done zero work on his own to actually provide reliable, accurate information. He is spreading misinformation about Nikki, a much, much smaller channel. That's my issue. He is relying on people that don't like Nikki to give him information that is completely inaccurate. Right. Big scoops, as Nikki would say. I don't see you, but I saw somebody put your name. So I don't know if Zach's going to read this, but even if your FOIA comes back stating that no report was made, you know, Jennifer, I feel your pain. I paid for Wi-Fi on my flight from Philadelphia to the Czech Republic. My Wi-Fi didn't fucking work. I feel your pain. Thank you for that super chat, Jessica. You don't have to do that, but I am not reading chat, so I understand why you did it. I'm sorry. Why did ZM start this all back up? I'm lost. I believe he started it back up because Roz made a video. She shared some shit on Twitter and then talked about it in a stream with the things from like 2 years ago. With the Levi's birthday. Sky, you didn't do anything? I don't know, Scar. I don't know. You gotta keep an eye on that Sky. Even if your FOIA comes back stating that no report was made, that still tells us precisely nothing about whether the SA happened. Right. So even if you... So sometimes they just won't request it. But I don't think Nikki... I don't think... This has nothing to do with her SA request. Or her SA allegation. The stuff... I believe that HRH requested everything. Right? But Nikki has never said anything as far as I know about a police report about Roz's SA. I'm not sure what video this is on, to be honest. I don't have any context on this. Another creator, right. So they were requesting it. Oh, the SA stuff? Yeah, I don't know who requested that. Well, I may know, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But it wasn't Nikki.
Rosie's sexual assault in regards to emailing her and things like that. And I will say, based on the ways that Nikki was wording this and what she was responding to, it does seem like the initial FOIA requests seem to be, at least initially, focused on finding out if Rosie actually tried to report her sexual assault. So Nikki...
I don't believe that was the point of HRH's request.
Responds to this commenter and says, and I've known Cam for just over a year. The one thing he did in that time that I found out after the fact was sending the tea for Levi's birthday. She said she found out about the tea after the fact, even though there are now Discord messages that she hasn't denied happened where he's messaging her about the twisted tea in real time, okay? So keep that in mind. But also she goes...
So... That was after he did it. He was on... Let me back that up. he says the Dasher's en route. And this was in a public Discord, right? So this was after the fact. This was after he requested it. So yeah, no, this is after he requested it, and she's laughing about it, like, okay, haha, because she thought he was joking. Nikki had said in her stream she was working and was like, oh, haha, thinking he was joking about it. And again, this has been a year and a half at this point, almost 2 years at this point. Nikki did not ask anybody to request FOIA information. Nikki just retweeted not the HRH. Nikki has never put in a FOIA request. Nikki never asked anybody to do a fucking FOIA request. Nikki has done none of this shit. And the Dash is about to knock. Nikki says, holy shit, I'm crying. And then so she's laughing about it. Okay. Cam was the one who claimed the FOIA regarding SA. Yeah, I'll be like, lol. Whatever. You know, it's I do that all the fucking time too. Like, oh, lol. Just to have a response. Cam was the one. What do you mean by that, Jennifer? What do you mean by that? Cam was the one who claimed the FOIA regarding SA. I don't have context for Nikki's messages in that last screenshot. I don't think it was about Cam.
Messaging her about the Twisted Tea in real time, okay? So keep that in.
You always assumed it was Cam who requested the SA information. No. He knew the name of the person because no, it wasn't Cam. It wasn't Cam that put in the request. Sorry, I forgot what yeah, Cam Roz put the name on herself. There was a forum. There was a forum, and somebody had commented. It was during, like, whenever she had just made the Bruce Bogtrotter corn video, and there was I'm trying to remember the exact context, but the person she accused of SA commented on a post in this forum saying, she's accused me of doing some shit too. She accuses people of things that didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. his name was there. Roz commented back to him, said his name. He said in his hold on. So she said the person's name in that forum. That's why we know I don't know his name, but that's why people know his name. Because Roz put it out there herself. In one of his last Twitch lives, he claimed a FOIA was done for police reports in Atlanta and Georgia. I'm not backing anything up, but I listened to the stream. He's the only one claiming that. Did you not see the request on Twitter? HRH stated that she has more coming. HRH is the one that put in the FOIA request. I don't know what exactly HRH has requested. So that doesn't mean he requested it, because HRH has publicly put out FOIA requests that she requested. I don't know what Solar and Geeky Banana are arguing about, but can y'all stop? Nikki, my love, you're supposed to be sleeping. Nikki says, Cam has always done some really bad things, but he's always done it with his own name. And I don't know, but I would say if he made the request, he would say, I requested this, and I'm getting the information. Candy says, well, I don't agree with real life. I don't blame anyone for FOIA stuff from a known liar. Rosie invited that herself by bringing it to the internet, something she should keep silent about. You're welcome to stay, Banana. I just don't know what you all are bitching at each other about, and it's a little distracting for everybody else in the chat. I don't know what you all are arguing about. Yeah, I think Cam would claim it if he did it. Nikki says, I'm so tired of this. Anytime I correct a lie, I'm told I'm defending Cam, and I'm not. But I hate seeing lies about people that I know, and I would defend any of you in chat if people were lying about you. Yeah. Agree. People will probably say that I'm defending Cam. I don't think Geeky Banana was defending Nikki against someone casting aspersions. That's it. Okay. Yeah. You all are welcome to your opinions. I'm defending Nikki. In this video. And if somebody is being lied about, I don't care who it is. If somebody says Cam did something and he didn't, I will say Cam did not do this. Somebody else did. Right? And I think Cam has become the scapegoat for everything. Cam has become the boogeyman for anything Roz related. Whenever it's possibly not him. But because he has done things before, people are using him as a scapegoat. And suddenly, any negative little thing or anything that's IRL with Roz, it's Cam. It's automatically Cam whenever there's no proof of it. Nikki says, I'm not happy with Cam or his behavior, and the fact that I have to mention him by name is not good for me, but I'm not going to let anyone lie about anyone because I wouldn't want that done to me. Absolutely, Nikki. Nikki says, truth is truth. If you think I'm a liar, you're not for me and I'm not for you. But I try to be reliable and have integrity at very least. I agree, Nikki. Truth is truth. I want the truth out there. Right? I don't like misinformation. I hate lies being spread.
Mind. But also, she goes on to say, he said,
Nikki says, I don't support his actions, but I'm not going to listen to people lie. It's like if somebody said Libby took a shit on my doorstep, I would say no, she didn't. I appreciate you for that, Nikki. Unless Libby's secretly shitting on doorsteps, I'm going to defend her. Thank you, Nikki. Don't out my secret hobby. No. Yeah. It's and that's exactly it. If it does come out, if there is proof, if somebody actually has proof that it was Cam that did these things, I will say that I'm wrong. But there's no proof. Sweet Tobacco says, so you're defending him? No. Nobody is defending anybody. It's defending the truth. If somebody says, thank you so much for the happy poop, Jessica. Interesting timing on the happy poop. If somebody says Cam did that and we don't think Cam did it, we're going to say Cam didn't do it. That's not defending Cam. That is trying to curb misinformation. Can I read your last message? Let's do Scars scrolling on up. Jennifer says, I'm not defending or bad talking anyone. It's hard to respond real answers in a chat. He did not claim he put in the request. He said one was made. That's all I meant. Okay, thank you, Jennifer. No one is defending actions of Cam that we know Cam did. I know you're joking, Nikki. It's fine, love. If someone said Libby was pooping on her doorstep, I would 1000% defend Libby and tell everyone that she just had diarrhea. You know, sometimes when you gotta go, you gotta go. If I'm out for a walk and I gotta take a shit, I gotta take a shit, y'all. Look, Nikki's just joking, right? She's trying to make light. Nikki, love, please go to sleep. People are gonna think I'm a doorstep shitter now.
that he'd never do anything like that again, and I believed him.
Okay.
I took accountability for this and have corrected it now. I'm sorry you feel you can't stick around, but there's a lot of misinformation floating around, and I understand it's hard to keep up and know
Thank you, Hazley.
what's true and what's not. I'll definitely be more careful how I word things going forward to reduce the likelihood of confusion. So yeah.
Yeah. Nikki says, look, Cam told me he wasn't going to do this shit again. I believed him. Right? Why not just reach out to Nikki? Nikki has come out and said, look, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have laughed about this. Nikki has done everything she can to take accountability for things and been like, I was wrong in this situation. In the future, I'm going to be more careful. And she has. If you actually watch Nikki's content, Zach, you would say, yeah, you're not doing any of these things. She does not, she never showed anything that had to do with Remy before Roz showed Remy herself. Nikki has conducted herself with integrity and has not spread misinformation. So, Sweet as Tobacco. Nobody's trying to defend him. Nobody's clearing his name. Nobody is defending Cam's bad behavior. Nikki is not Cam. Why can't people get that through their fucking heads? Nikki is not Cam. She is not his keeper. Y'all need to stop trying to get Nikki to come out and say shit. Do you think maybe she doesn't want to piss Cam off? Hey, Escape, you're a lawyer. That's good to know. We could use you.
And it's interesting to note that the screenshots that Rosie recently posted were evidence of Nikki witnessing it in real time and her laughing.
It was 2 fucking years ago. It was 2 years ago. She's like, law, whatever. Nikki was working. Do you not recognize the time difference? Nikki was at work.
In response to it happening. And something she has said in these recent, like since Rosie posted those things, something she has said in live streams is, yeah, I laughed. I thought it was funny at the time.
She's not beyond faking shit either. And I'll tell you the truth.
Sure, the police have
I laughed. So I'm going to be honest about it.
No, Seller.
I'm not really ashamed of like I've changed since then, but I laughed. I'm not going to hide it.
And I also want to note that
Oh my god, look at that. She's like, yeah, I laughed. Shouldn't have, but I did. Right? Because she thought Cam was joking. And then it's like, what the fuck? You went to your front door with your phone and doxed yourself. She didn't know about it in advance. Nikki is not Cam.
that even though she's now saying that she laughed and that she doesn't feel bad about laughing for it because she thought it was funny, at the time she made this post, I should say, this response on this video, at that time she's trying to make it sound like, you know, the Twisted Tea incident was something that was bad enough that she wanted to be able to trust that he'd never do something like that again, and that she's really shocked and surprised that he now is doing it with the email that he sent to Rosie. The other part of this comment that I think is interesting is that she says that there's a lot.
Because why would you expect, like he said, he's not going to send anything else again. And then he sends an email and it's like, why would you do that? Why would you send Roz an email saying that you're going to interview her alleged rapist? Sweet as Tobacco. Nikki's not using me to defend her. Nikki is my friend. I'm defending her because Zach is spreading misinformation about her. I'm not going to stand for somebody lying about my friend. Right? Roz lies about shit all the fucking time, trying to gaslight and rewrite history. So fuck off, kindly.
Of misinformation floating around, and it's hard to know what is and isn't true. And I think that that's mostly interesting to me because she doesn't make it clear on what she's alleging might not be true in this situation. It seems like she's just saying, like, yeah, there's lots of stuff that's confusing out there, but by the way, I'm not going to clear any of it up. I'm not going to tell you.
What? Maybe Nikki doesn't have to address this. Nikki doesn't have to address any of this. My green screen is acting up again here because the light's changing.
what I think is untrue. I'm just going to say, in general, it's hard to trust anything about this situation because it could all be true, it could all be untrue. And some other comment.
You know what could certainly clear that up, Zach, is maybe if you actually reached out to Nikki instead of relying on third-hand information. Right? Right? You have done no research of your own on any of this. Nikki has addressed things that she had a part in. She doesn't need to address anything that Cam did.
Trust it. By the way, I'm not going to clear any.
Zach's point of view seems to be Nikki bad because of Cam Wayoma. The intentions they expressed in the beginning. What were those intentions, Wayoma? Go to bed, Nikki.
Of it up. I'm not going to tell you what I think is untrue. I'm just going to say, in general, it's hard to trust anything about this situation because it could all be true, it could all be untrue. And some other comment responses in that same thread on her video, she tries to clarify that it isn't just for reports regarding Rosie's alleged sexual assault, but she does understand the curiosity.
Wait.
To say, in general, it's hard to trust anything about this situation.
Sorry, I need to back up part of this. I'm sorry, I was looking at chat. I need to focus on Zach.
Like I've changed since then, but I laughed. I'm not going to hide it.
And I also want to note that even though she's now saying that she laughed and that she doesn't feel bad about laughing for it because she thought it was funny, at the time she made this post, I should say, this response on this video, at that time she's trying to make it sound like, you know, the Twisted Tea incident was something that was bad enough that she wanted to be able to trust that he'd never do something like that again, and that she's really shocked and surprised that he now is doing it with the email that he sent to Rosie.
Yeah, so she could be surprised by that, right? Have you ever had a friend do something that you didn't agree with, and then they're like, yeah, we're not going to do it again, and you're like, okay, good. And then they do something stupid, and you're like, okay, why'd you do that?
The other part of this comment that I think is interesting is that she says that there's a lot of misinformation floating around, and it's hard to know what is and isn't true.
You went to ask a question for Libby. Libby later told me not go again ever. Exactly, don't get close to the poo. Yes, don't go into Roz's chats and ask questions for us and do things. It's a little too close.
True, and I think that that's mostly.
There is a lot of misinformation floating around, and you are currently spreading a lot of that misinformation, Zach.
Interesting to me because she doesn't make it clear on what she's alleging might not be true in this situation.
I don't get that.
It seems like she's just saying, like, yeah, there's lots of stuff that's confusing out there, but by the way, I'm not going to clear any of it up. I'm not going to tell you what I think is untrue. I'm just going to say, in general, it's hard to trust anything about this situation.
Why is it her responsibility? Why is it her responsibility? She's covered multiple things before. She has said in previous videos. What situations?
Because it could all be true, it could all be untrue. And some other comment responses in that same thread on her video, she tries to clarify that it isn't just for reports regarding Rosie's alleged sexual assault, but she does understand the curiosity because Rosie lies, but simultaneously she also says she believes.
Okay, so I was out of the country for this last week, so I haven't caught any of these videos. So Nikki is saying Nikki did not request it, and she's not going to say who requested it, right? Because she's not going to throw somebody else under the bus. It wasn't Cam, I'll tell you that. I think it's not just regarding SA, but other reports she's claimed to make as well. I understand people being curious and wanting solid facts. She lies so much that it actually drives the curiosity. However, as a victim myself, I'm in the believe all victims camp 100%. Also, for the same reason, I'd really like to drop the topic. I don't speak much about SA on this channel for good reason. Minka says, understood, but you have to understand how the optics look. No matter who has the information or where you get it from, it just gives Rosie more ammunition to attack you and others in the community. Don't give her that power. There's a point where it has to stop. Poke at her for the current lies. Move from the SA and FOIA, please. So, I don't think anybody has published anything about the SA police report because you're not going to get it. The police either will not give it to you or it's going to be heavily redacted. Nikki did not do these requests. HRH was the one that published the FOIA request. Just because Nikki retweeted it. I don't know what your point is. Rosie does lie, and Nikki does try to believe all victims. I have publicly stated that I do question Roz's SA account from New Year's Eve. I have publicly stated that I question it. Because things don't add up for me in that whole situation. I feel bad that I question her because I want to believe all victims. But unfortunately, people do lie about things. And I do question it. And I feel bad for that. That is the only SA that I have questioned. But I'm not going to put in a FOIA request for it because I wouldn't be able to get it. And I don't care enough. Right? I want to believe Roz when it comes to that. But unfortunately, she lies about so many situations and so many things. She's made it very hard to believe her when it comes to that situation. I'm not quite sure what optics Minka is talking about here because again, I don't have a lot of context here, but I don't think anybody has publicly requested that report, so I don't know. But when it comes to the wellness check, Roz was accusing people of it.
All victims and wants to drop the topic because of her own relationship with sexual assault, which absolutely is understandable. Especially if you're a victim of sexual assault, it can be really hard to engage in topics like this. I think it's a little less understandable for her to want the topic dropped, the sexual assault conversation topic dropped, when she's the one that is posting a video where the topic is Cam emailing Rosie about her alleged rapist.
Oh, no.
Her to want the topic dropped, the sexual assault conversation topic dropped, when she's the one that is posting a video where the topic is Cam emailing Rosie about her alleged.
What? Posting a video where the topic is Cam emailing Rosie about what?
Rapist. And when
I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. When did Nikki post a video of that? We were all watching Roz live when that happened. this is some crazy mental gymnastics that the thing is, Wyoma, there's no hypocrisy. Zach is reaching.
And another commenter tries to explain how the optics of this situation will look. Nikki's continued response is, I'm desperately trying not to talk about that topic anymore. As a victim myself, it's exhausting. I'm tired. And that's
I don't understand your point. I don't get your point on this, Zach.
the end of that conversation. I guess I just share this now because I think the response is weird, and because some of the comments on my own video suggested that Nikki has said in other live streams that the email Rosie received from Cam was no big deal. And there are also comments that people have suggested that Nikki has said that she's victim blamed Rosie, and the reality of all of
Look, at the end of the day, it's because Roz keeps trying to use this email victimhood. Saying you won't go IRL and are against it fully while also retweeting efforts to. Requesting a FOIA account isn't going IRL in my opinion, Wyoma. Do you consider requesting public police records? Going IRL? Because Zach also showed that. Zach showed the house deed. Zach showed the police reports that were tweeted. Zach just showed those. So Zach is saying here that, so anyway, as I was saying, Roz has continued to try to use that email as to like claim victimhood and all these things. At the end of the day, it was an email with somebody's name in it. It wasn't the profanity, it was the all caps. Nothing came of it. There was never any intention of any interview. Right? Roz accused people in Girl World of doing the wellness check. People got put in FOIA. I put in a FOIA request for it. I haven't received it. Neither has HRH. The FOIA request that HRH has is prior to that.
that people have suggested that Nikki has said that she's victim blamed Rosie, and the reality.
Nikki has said that she has victim blamed Rosie. Has Nikki said that she's victim blamed Rosie? Because Roz makes herself the victim in every situation. I'm trying to get through this video, Wyoma, so I'm not paying that much attention to the chat. I'm sorry. So I've probably missed some of your messages. Yeah, nobody's talking about the FOIA for the SA. That isn't what people have requested. People have requested the FOIA for the wellness check. I don't think anybody has requested for the SA publicly. I asked you a question. What did I ask you? Because when requested and received, it will be all over the internet. That's a vulnerable situation shared to the world. No one deserves that. So, I've already stated this before. If you make a request, a FOIA request to the police for an SA situation or a grape, you're not going to get it. They either will not send it, or it's going to be redacted to not include the victim's name, because that is public private information. They'll either say they don't have it, or it's going to be heavily redacted. So even if somebody requested the SA police report, they're not going to get it. He's been talking about the SA situation, Wyoma. That's what was brought up here. The SA was in Georgia. All of the screenshots that Zach has shown has been talking about an SA FOIA.
Of all of this is that, much like not being able to find a video
Unless I'm missing something, because Zach is showing random ass screenshots from comments on a video without any context.
comments on my own video suggested that Nikki has said
Who was sharing when Nikki was requesting people donate towards it. So, because Nikki retweeted HRH saying, hey, these are expensive, if you want to send money to help with the cost, why does that matter? Why does that matter? She just shared, hey, if anybody wants to donate towards HRH's funds for this, you're welcome to. I don't see what the issue is. I don't understand the point, Wyoma. I don't understand why that's an issue. Nikki was just like, hey, these are expensive. This is HRH's tweet about this. I don't... How is that poo touching, Wyoma? Please tell me how that is poo touching. Getting a FOIA request, in my opinion, because you're trying to clear your name or somebody else's name on something, isn't poo touching. These are public information. In that case, Wyoma, I have poo touched. I have Amberlynn Reed's mom's entire criminal history. I have police reports from Emily's situation with her ex. In that case, then I've touched the poo, and I'm okay with that. Because I used that information to clear up misinformation that was being spread. Zach shared that information in this video, Wyoma. Zach shared the tweets. So by your logic, Zach is touching the poo. I have that information, T-Swizzle, because people were spreading misinformation about Amberlynn's mom. I made a video about that situation to clear up and clarify and get truth out there. That's why I have that. It's fine to do it and be okay with it, I guess, but I don't think it's fine to claim that your space is safe from that and do it anyways. Because it's not poo touching. Getting a public record to clear up information is not poo touching, in my opinion. But by your logic, then Zach has touched the poo. Zach is poo touching because he just shared that information in this video. Zach shared the house deed information in this video that Kentucky Dad shared. I disagree with that. I disagree with anybody sharing the house deed information. Zach also just showed the police reports that HRH shared. Right. Having the information and what you do with it are two very different things. All right. You need to go to bed, Nikki. I need to end this stream because I need to start work. I'm going to power through this really quick.
In other live streams that the email Rosie received from Cam was no big deal. And there are also comments that people have suggested that Nikki has said that she's victim blamed Rosie. And the reality of all of this is that much like not being able to find a video of her addressing the Cam email, addressing...
I'm going to give this 5 more minutes, y'all, and then I'm going to have to finish this later because I actually have a meeting in 15 minutes and I need to get my work laptop out and I need to start work. So I'm gonna, in 5 minutes, well, in 3 minutes. I've been live a lot longer than I meant to. Actually, I'm gonna end this now. I am going to finish this maybe tonight. Because I have a meeting in 15 minutes. I'm going to leave this in this moment with Zach is getting his information from disingenuous people. He is spreading misinformation about Nikki. And I'm not okay with that. Zach needs to do better. Get information from reputable sources or find it himself. And he has no business using any of Nikki's content and videos from this point forward. Everything he shared in this video is hearsay. It's people that don't like Nikki making comments. And again, I'm going to say, I am biased. I admit that. But I can also say, I don't agree with Nikki resharing Kentucky Dad's tweet about the deed. I don't agree with that. And I am more than happy to tell Nikki that I don't agree with that. And Nikki will be like, okay, thanks, I appreciate that. You know, whatever. But I'll finish these last 15 minutes of his video later tonight because I'm very irritated by his disingenuous arguments. His video is all over the place. He hasn't shown a single thing that Nikki herself has done. So, on that note,
relationship with email.
Shh. Sorry, Zach. Shut up. I'm trying to be fair as well, Wyoma, but I don't see anything that has been shared that is it's getting... Nikki did not put in the FOIA request. Nikki did not do that. It was somebody else. She shared it. All right. I think this is a bad video. I think it needs more downvotes. There we go. So I love you all. I don't know what post you made, Quirky. Did you make a post somewhere? I will see you all a little bit later tonight, maybe after D&D. I love you all, and I will see you later. I gotta go to work. Bye. Mwah. Smooches.
Rolling across the kitchen tile in that spinny office chair, chatterbait cams running wild with that come and get me stare. Peanut butter sauce dripped slow on a double-headed show. 12.2-inch magic wand humming where the lights are low. It's just sex and candy, baby. Sugar rush and ecstasy, Sour Patch and high-chew cravings, tangled up in you and me. It's just sex and candy, honey, sticky sweet insanity, rolling through this neon kitchen, lost in pure biology. Anal trainers lined up neat